Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Boy, what a sports weekend we had. A great weekend. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Monday. Of course, we want you to be a part of the show. Aggies, want to hear from you. Longhorn fans, I know I won't. Was that kind of a weekend? You can always dial us up on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or hit me up on Twitter. I am at Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. You can get at him on Twitter at I am Pledger. Before we talk about the great football weekend, Spurs make some news today. Is it a bombshell? Is it Luka's gone? Say bye-bye, Luka. And you know what? I look at Luka. The experiment failed. It did. And they moved on. They had to make some cuts. And it looked like he was going to be the guy that had to go. He was the odd man out. Now, James Pledger, when we talked about this on Friday, and I said it was going to happen, you said there are a lot of people out there that were going to lose their mind if that were to happen. And I don't know what they've seen that I haven't, but what I've seen is a guy that they took a flyer on, it didn't work, and they cut bait. I go back to that draft a couple of years ago. They got the two right guys, just in the wrong order. If Luka was the 29th pick and not the 19th, I don't think anybody would give two craps about Luka getting released this early on. It's not a knock on the Spurs for failing to develop him. I mean, the guy killed it in the G League. He just, I mean, you look at, there's players out there that are great at AA that can't make it in the majors, great at AAA that can't make it in the majors. Guy that balls out on the JV can't make it on the varsity level. We've seen that. That is Luka. And maybe his freedom now to go somewhere else, maybe he can develop into a quality NBA player on somebody else's time frame. But the number said somebody was going to have to go. And the smart money was on Luka. And that is where Greg Popovich played his smart money today. There are guys out there like Carl Schoening who's going to have to come on the radio tomorrow and eat all kinds of crow. And I get that. The love affair with Luka, I always thought was, I don't know. I mean, there's just players like that. Some people fall in love with for various reasons, and they just can't see what everybody else is saying. I mean, I went through that for a number of years with Tony Romo until everybody else realized being a Romosexual was the cool thing to do. So when you look at Luka, he's gone. Spurs do have to make another big cut. And this is going to be one where you go, yeah. I'm just surprised at some of the reaction on Twitter. And it's not an indictment on the organization. They took a flyer. It didn't work. The other day I compared it to Taco Charlton. He had everything there, but it didn't work. And you have to credit the organization for moving on when they do. Yes, they're admitting a mistake by doing this, and they're good with that. And if he were the 29th pick as opposed to the 19th, I don't think that there would be near the angst and division over Luka. Ooh, it's Luka. And I've got friends that keep telling me and texting me or tweeting at me that, the state of Texas only has room for one Luka. And, that's true. It's hard to compare your Lukas when that's what you're comparing it to. So Luka's gone. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show because, man, we've got a lot to get into. Cowboys win yesterday. I went to the game, ended up having to drive there, drive back. Thanks, Southwest Airlines. But, man, that was fun. And that was my first NFL game since COVID happened. I didn't go at all last year. I didn't make one game. You forget how much fun it is to go to a game in person, a big NFL game, 100,000 people or whatever's in that stadium. It's just a lot of fun. And to watch the Cowboys kick the crap out of the New York Giants, that makes it even better. Good game for the Cowboys. We'll talk about it. Pledge, Houston, almost.
It was awesome.
I mean, your Texans.
That was awesome.
Well, they're figuring out new ways to lose. Yeah, I know you're not happy, but you're going to put on a happy face.
Oh, no.
We played well and lost.
Davis
we
Mills
played well and
great.
lost. Uh-huh.
We still lost, so we get a great draft pick. I'm stoked. Yesterday went perfect.
Uh-huh. You keep telling yourself that, man.
I will.
Spurs
fans, get on board. You're going to have to do the same thing this season.
Oh, look at you. God, nothing worse than a depressed Houston fan just trying to make it somebody else's problem. I get it. I get where you're coming from. See, and I see Ben Briseno on the Facebook Live say poor coaching decision. See, that's a guy that knows I'm not supposed to win games. So what do? We played hard. We didn't embarrass ourselves like we did last week. Whole bunch of you took New England in 9.5 because you saw what we did in Buffalo. So we're going to make you unhappy by you're not going to cover. And 2, we're going to lose the game. But they tried hard. They did almost. Speaking of Houston Astros, they got an unexpected day off today. They'll play the White Sox in Game 4 tomorrow, a game that you can listen to right here on San Antonio Sports Star, which means we'll get a late start tomorrow on the Blitz, but we'll have that midday game for you right here on ESPN. And I'll tell you what, the extra day gives the Astros a chance to really close this out because Lance McCullers is going to get the start. So that rain delay, the Astros are still cheating crap. Come on, White Sox. But look, if you're Houston, you have that reputation. It's well earned. You're going to have to face that. We'll talk about the accusations coming from the White Sox. Surprisingly, after a win, after going down 0-2, they get a win in the series. Although, and we'll get into it at 4:45. Dude was very careful to not use the word cheating. He implied all kinds of things, which is comical. But again, if you're an Astro player, you're an Astro fan, expect it. Expect it. Just go beat their ass. That's all you can do if you're the Houston Astros and Dusty Baker and his entire team. I mean, that's what it boils down to. The UTSA Roadrunners are bowl eligible in October. Think about that. That was an incredible game on Saturday, and I'm glad it was on regular TV. Even though we had Western Kentucky announcers, it was great on TV. You have to understand how the announcer thing works at that level of streaming. It's regional guys or local guys that are doing it for the home team, basically, and we get to peek in. I know a lot of you were getting mad at those guys. It's all good. UTSA got a crazy win, which was a whole lot of fun, unless you were the defensive coordinator. We'll talk about that coming up with Jeff Traylor, the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. He's going to join us at 6 o'clock. Let's, Longhorns, I'll tell you what. I don't know what to think of the Longhorns and how they lost that game. But as a Longhorn fan, the best thing that happened on Saturday, so we don't have to talk about how they completely wet the bed in the second half, came later that night in College Station, Texas.
Aggies 38, Crimson Tide 38, 2 seconds left. 28-yard attempt by Seth Small. Is down, it is up, and the fighting Texas Aggies take down the top-ranked Tide 41-38. Number 1 goes down, and the celebration is on at Kyle Field.
Andrew Monaco, our good friend and the voice of the Aggies, with the final call as Texas A&M stole all the headlines away from the Texas Longhorns. Thank goodness. Now, I know there's some that are going to want to still talk about UT. I'm not one of those. Although, if you want to, you can dial us up because, my God, that was embarrassing for the Longhorns. But the Aggies, for the Aggies to do what they did, speaks volumes. I mean, that Calzada kid has been through the ringer. And I have talked about that kid not having it since he took over against Colorado. And he has just proven everybody wrong because the mental toughness that he has shown to shake off the negative and the comments that were being made. I mean, even Rob Thompson, who was at the game last week when they lost to Mike Leach, said that there were some catcall type things going on in the stadium towards that quarterback. And Aggies just don't do that. But the expectations for this A&M team were a lot higher than the results they were giving up until that point. And for Calzada to go out and play the game that he did, for that defense to go out and play the way they did, that was an incredible football game. Whether you have a dog in that fight or not, that was an incredible game. That was kind of, like watching the Iowa-Penn State game. I mean, there were some, Nebraska-Michigan. There were some good college games this weekend. But when you care about one of those teams, and I was rooting hard for the Aggies because anytime Alabama can go down, I'm down. And I like the Aggies unless they're playing UT, which will happen again very, very soon when they all join the SEC. But you look at what A&M did. That Calzada kid, he gets hurt. And I don't know what they did to him in that tent because it looked bad. That injury looked bad on a touchdown pass. I know in soccer they have that magic spray where, the guy's laying down, they bring out the stretcher, and then they, get the Lysol spray or whatever that stuff is, and then they're good to go. I don't know if they use that in that medical tent, what they did, but for that kid to come back out and then lead down and get set up for the game-winning field goal to knock off number 1 Alabama, that was an incredible college football game. The atmosphere there in College Station, always great at a whole different level. And when you think about every Aggie fan I know thought they were going to lose the game. They went into that game knowing they were going to lose. I don't have one Aggie friend that told me, I think we've got a chance and here's why. I've got Aggie fans that were like, man, I'll take the over, but that 18 points, man, I hope it's that close. What was it? Last year they lost by 28 and played a pretty good game down there against Alabama. I mean, Alabama looked just that good coming in. But Texas A&M punched him in the mouth. They kept punching him in the mouth, and they kept punching him in the mouth. And then they delivered the knockout blow. Jimbo Fisher, the first Saban assistant to get a win over his former boss. Incredible. For that Calzada kid, it's what legends are made of. I mean, absolute legendary type performance. And it could have been, some walk-on dude, right? I mean, if Calzada didn't come out of the injury tent, how would that have gone down? 100,000 people in that stadium. They rushed the field at Kyle, which is, kind of a no-no because the history of the stadium and what it actually is. But they rushed the field, get fined $100,000. Do you think A&M cares about that fine? I mean, that was worth every penny, that scene that we all saw in College Station on Saturday night. I mean, that was just an incredible, incredible football game. Aggie fans, wear your shirts all week, talk all the crap you want. You're not going to have to worry about hearing from us Longhorn fans after what Texas did against Oklahoma. They built the big lead and then promptly blew it. Growing pains for Sark, defensive issues. I don't know. I mean, that was just embarrassing for the Texas Longhorns. I mean, just flat out embarrassing with the way that game started and the way that game ended. Just incredible. Incredible. The way that it worked out for the Texas Longhorns. And, I said going into that game, Oklahoma's not as good as they've been. They're not. But good teams figure out how to win close games. And that is what Oklahoma has done all season. And Lincoln Riley, like he did last year, pulled Spencer Rattler in the middle of the game. And that changed everything for Oklahoma, changed everything for Texas. And the fact that he put Spencer Rattler back in to run that 2-point conversion, I don't know what he was thinking there, but it worked. It worked. Imagine the heat that guy would be taking if it didn't. It'd be more heat than that dry brisket he put on social media a year ago if that 2-point play does not work with Spencer Rattler. But it worked. He got benched and came in for one play. And it was the difference-making play in the entire game. They don't get it. Who knows how it ends up? But Texas, when things started to go south, they had no answers. None. That one touchdown late made it interesting, and then the defense couldn't do their part. The long runs that you saw, the way they were blocked up, out of position, Texas played scared late. And they got run over. A damn embarrassment for Sark and the Texas Longhorn program. We'll talk more college football coming up in about 15 minutes. Peter Burns from the SEC Network. He will join us. We'll have the Cowboys Power Hour at 5 o'clock. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, Mondays with the Moose at 5:30. RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys, he will join us coming up at 5 o'clock. Of course, it is a Monday. Clint Stoerner joins us at 6:30. And I mentioned that Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head coach, is going to join us coming up at 6 o'clock. But let's talk some NFL, because what a day it was in the National Football League. As good as the college Saturday was, I think we had as equally good as an NFL Sunday, one of the better NFL Sundays that we have had in a long time. You think about all the games yesterday and how they went down. I mean, Bills beating the Chiefs last night. And I mean beating the Chiefs last night. Delays and all. That was incredible, which I told you was going to happen. The Arizona Cardinals, they stay undefeated as they beat San Francisco. Tom freaking Brady. I mean, the best part about Tom Brady's day yesterday is that he knew that Rob Thompson had left him on the bench in a fantasy football game against Jason Minix. Rob Thompson, fantasy manager of the year, went with Sam Darnold and promptly suffered his first loss of the year in our media league.
Oh, the Mambo Kings.
Yeah, look, Rob had a great weekend. I don't think he gives a damn because the Aggies knocked off Alabama. But when I saw that Tom Brady put up the numbers he did and was on the bench for Sam Darnold, who, by the way, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yikes. Green Bay Cincy, what an incredible game. Were you watching that one, Pledge?
That was amazing. The Cincinnati kicker celebrating as he missed the field goal.
All right. So I don't know what happened here. I was at the game last night. We had the TV on in the suite, and we're watching the end of that game while they were getting ready to get started here. And in the suite, there's 3 TVs. You can have the stadium feed, and then you could have the local Fox feed. Well, that game's in overtime. They're driving, and then at least in Dallas, they cut out and went to Troy and Joe Buck to tell us that this game was going to happen and go to a commercial break. And all of us, we were trying to figure out, is Mason Crosby going to actually hit one of these things? We never saw the ending. I understand the rules. Okay, so it's everybody that's a Cowboy priority market had that problem. And I understand those are the TV rules. By now, we all understand those are the TV rules. Why can't that get fixed? Could they go to a split screen? Could they go to something? I mean, when you've got a game going down to the wire, maybe the rule needs to be if it's an overtime, we stay with it regardless. Now, you got to understand the business side of things. The Cowboys make a lot of money. So that first commercial break right before kickoff is pretty expensive real estate. So they've got to go to that to get to that break, right? So you've got to understand that aspect of it all. But it's just dumb that the end of the game, and they don't provide a local alternate channel they could flip through. You know, it's like if you're waiting for a game to end on ESPN, well, this is Aero Never. We got 8 channels, man. You can go find this on the Ochoa or ESPN News or somewhere where you could see the beginning, because most of us don't give a damn about kickoff when you've got the ending of a great game. But ultimately, Mason Crosby won the kickoff. And somebody needs to go give Dan Campbell a hug. I mean, can the Lions find another way to lose, another way to have their hearts ripped out? I mean, the Lions are winless on the team. And I believe Daryl Johnston had that game yesterday on Fox. So we'll talk about it with the Moose when he joins us at 5:30. But you think about Justin Tucker with a 66-yard field goal. They had another heartbreaking loss. And yesterday, they go for two and the win. And they have it. They took the game, and then they gave it right back to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings who were trying to say, here, take the win. Take the win. Go bite some kneecaps. Take the win. No. You guys don't want to hear. You guys go win the game. Detroit. I mean, when Dan Campbell is brought to tears in the press conference, somebody give that man a hug.
By the way, Jason, how was your weekend? Because it didn't go exactly how you planned.
No, none of my weekend went how it planned. It was.
I mean, your trip to Dallas was a little longer than you initially planned.
Well, yeah. All right. So I really wasn't going to get into it, but you lead a dog to water, or whatever that horse to water, whatever, right? So Saturday, my mother's birthday. She lives in Copperas Cove, Texas. 2.5 hours from here. So we drive up Saturday to go have lunch with my mother for her birthday. And while we're up there, Longhorns are playing. We go to a restaurant, but the TV's on there, so I've got an eye on the game, and they were up big, so I didn't feel like I was missing much. I'm recording the game, which I'll never watch, by the way. We're up there, then we get back to her house. Then I say things that my mother probably should not hear me say as the Longhorns continue to let that game get away, right? And by now, a lot of old people don't have Wi-Fi in their house, right? So, I mean, you're not up to speed on so many different things. So then I'm catching wind of Southwest Airlines having all kinds of issues, canceling stuff left and right because weather. It's gorgeous. Why are your flights getting canceled? And then you hear rumblings. Well, it might be some computer system. And then you hear other. The truth of the matter is Southwest doesn't want to tell you, even though they're all about transparency, but transfer is one of their things, but they're lying to you as a customer. Apparently, they had a company-wide sick out for their vaccine mandate that's coming into effect. And so people that expect to lose their jobs want to use all their sick days all at one time, screw the airline, but it really screws over the passengers. I called Southwest on Saturday. I said, hey, I've got a flight tomorrow morning. Oh, you're going to be fine. Yeah, you're going to be fine. So what's going on? Well, we're supposed to tell you weather. All right, cool, man. But we're good tomorrow? Yeah. Because I'm halfway there at my mom's house now. I could go to Target, buy a toothbrush, buy some deodorant, buy a new Cowboy shirt, and just go up to Dallas and enjoy the game tomorrow. No, you're going to be fine. All right, cool. So I go home. We come back to San Antonio and get up yesterday morning, about 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock flight. About 6:30, get the notification, your flight's been canceled. First thing I did when I woke up was to check. It said on time. All right, good. Canceled. All right, road trip it is. So we drive to Dallas, go to the game, have a great time. And then as we're leaving, there's awful weather in Dallas. Here's the interesting part of this. If we had flown, I don't know that I would have made it home because the weather in Dallas was so bad about the time our flight was going to leave. Now, we had driven out of it, so I didn't really face any bad weather. The lightning was incredible. There were a couple of tornadoes that were south of Dallas, but I missed all of that. In fact, I didn't see any rain until we got to 1604. But I got in about 12:30. I don't know if you do this when you set your GPS, but try to beat the clock. And I did. By 7 minutes, I beat the clock. It only took 4 hours. 4 hours and 2 minutes is what it said. It took me a little bit less than that. So you look at all the stuff going on with Southwest. I wasn't overly mad. I get it. I was mad that they lied to me the day before. Although, did they really know what they were doing? The people on the other end of the phone. And I never understand the people that want to yell at those people because they have no control, right? But when I hear about so many of these other people that have been stranded, They left last Wednesday, Thursday. They're on vacation. They can't get back. Had I say that was a road game and I had plans to fly up to go to the game in New York with tickets and hotels and stuff, then I'd be really pissed. I mean, what a nightmare for Southwest Airlines. A total nightmare for Southwest.
Moral of the story, Jason Minix traveled like the common folk this weekend.
Yeah, common folks go with Southwest. That's why it's there. I mean, I drove up there and drove back. I mean, I was not going to miss the game because the plane didn't take me. I mean, what did you think I was going to say? Oh, man, flight's canceled. I'm not driving to Dallas. Screw that. Of course. It just meant that I couldn't drink as much at the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the biggest part was nothing for the entire second half and then go eat dinner and then hit the road. And it's kind of how it goes down. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Alabama goes down. Peter Burns from the SEC Network. He will join us next here on the Blitz. You want the best water quality for your family. Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is a new build or an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Go to alamowatersofteners.com and schedule an appointment with one of their whole home specialists. Have them come out to your house and give you a free water analysis and a customized plan for your family and home. Choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle, where you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system while supplies last. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Peter Burns joins us right after James Pledger and a Sports Center update. Pledge.
Thanks, Jason. Well, the Dallas Cowboys won their fourth straight, improving to 4-1 on the season as they rolled the New York Giants 44-20 up at AT&T Stadium yesterday. Trayvon Diggs continues his streak as he got a pick in yesterday's game, giving him 6 on the year and at least 1 in every game this season. Dak Prescott threw for 302 yards and 3 scores, while Zeke Elliott ran for 110 yards and a touchdown in the win. The Houston Texans lost their 4th straight, falling to 1-4 as they fell to the New England Patriots 25-22. Rookie Davis Mills impressed as he threw for a career-high 312 yards and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions in the loss. Chris Moore, in his first action since being called up from the practice squad, had 5 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. In Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros couldn't finish off their sweep of the White Sox as they fell in Chicago 12-6 last night. Game 4 today was postponed due to storms in the Chicago area and will now be played tomorrow with first pitch set for 1:07, a game you can catch right here on your home for the MLB postseason. San Antonio Sports Star. It all starts at 12:30 with the pregame as Lance McCullers will now get the start, who won Game 1 down in Houston. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill, and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local HEB and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
For nearly 30 years, Thomas J. Henry has fought day in and day out for every client we've had the honor of representing. In our town, in our community, we will always be the name you trust. Thomas J. Henry, available 24/7 nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
At Diamonds Direct, we never take you for granted. We understand you always have a choice. That's why this week, we want to take pause to say thank you. It's a yearly tradition our team looks forward to because we love showing you we care. And this commitment to you is why we offer free cleaning, free sizing, free maintenance for life with any purchase. It's also why we created our amazing 110% lifetime upgrade promise. So when you're ready to trade up to that center diamond, that pair of diamond studs, or that diamond solitaire pendant, we will give you 110% of your original purchase price to go toward your new diamond. That's 10% more than you paid us. Value, selection, and customer service are truly what set us apart. This weekend, let us show you our appreciation. Come say hello, take advantage of our unmatched services, and maybe upgrade or trade in your diamond. And go bigger in honor of you, our valued customer. And thank you for allowing Diamonds Direct to be a part of your life's most precious moments, today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
Don't go through the fall months with that joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. Regenerative Solutions are here bringing lasting relief from joint pain with no downtime, no surgery, no steroids. QC Kinetics uses natural biologic therapies that restore and repair damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, hips, and back. Patients here are raving about the results. Hey, it's James Pledger with San Antonio Sports Star. Listen, you don't have to live with that chronic pain, and don't think surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now and learn more about these exciting natural alternatives. You've heard football legend Emmitt Smith talk about QC Kinetics. Now it's time to see what this is all about. Fall is the time to enjoy life to the fullest. Act now. Restorative, regenerative therapies are available here, and the in-office consultation is free. Locations in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. Non-surgical joint pain relief, 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
Napa Know How.
At Napa, buy a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 motor oil and save $10 on a pair of wiper blades. It's the perfect autumn deal. Mobil 1 for colder weather, new wipers for the rain, and an extra $10 to buy Halloween candy you'll most likely eat yourself. We're not judging. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa Know How.
Napa Know How.
At participating locations. Does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Ends 10/31/21.
Your safety and full satisfaction is My Collision Center's top priority. Free estimates and no appointment necessary. We work for you. If you've been in an accident, visit My Collision Center for a free estimate today. With 5 area locations, visit mycollisioncenter.com.
This is Jerry Jones, and you're listening to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Aggies 38, Crimson Tide 38, 2 seconds left. 28-yard attempt by Seth Small. Is down, it is up, and the fighting Texas Aggies take down the top-ranked Tide, 41-38. Number 1 goes down, and the celebration is on in Kyle Field.
And nobody expected that. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Of course, that was the voice of the Aggies, our friend Andrew Monaco, who joins us every Friday. And, of course, a game that you could have been listening to over on our brother station, AM 550 KTSA. A&M knocks off Alabama. Let's talk about it in the rest of the SEC weekend with our friend Peter Burns from the SEC Network. He joins us now. What do you think? 2 years, 3 years, 3 million people were at that game?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's going to be one of those ones where, like, I was there. But you're saying I got to call you out. You're saying that not anybody saw this coming. Evidently, you didn't watch my show this week on SEC Network, man. I told Chris Doring, my co-host, who said, "Oh, Alabama's going to just absolutely slaughter A&M." I'm like, this just feels like one of those gut check games, right? It kind of felt like we're there. All of a sudden, there's some kind of gut feeling that, A&M can come out. They've already got 2 losses. They can play kind of loose, and that's exactly what they did. They pinned their ears back with Mike Elko's defense, and Zach Calzada was like, he looked like damn Johnny Manziel possessed at his best over there at Kyle Field.
If that is true, I will give you all the credit because every Aggie I know was expecting a royal beatdown. And if you did a segment that was like, what's the one thing that if I were to tell you Monday happened that's a total lie, that's what I would expect to hear. I mean, no Aggie fan expected that. It was a late game. They won the tailgate. They carried that energy into the stadium, and home field mattered.
Well, and I think about it, right? In Fayetteville, when Texas just got absolutely run out of the building, it was because Arkansas fans were fantastic, right? We saw that with Ole Miss fans this week. We saw that with Iowa getting the big win over Penn State. And I mean, Kyle Field, that's a difference maker. I mean, we're still like 18 months removed from guys playing in front of large crowds, and I think it was a big difference. Bryce Young hadn't had to deal with that. And I think the most important thing is the fact that all of a sudden there was no, let's just kind of play it close. Let's throw a couple of jabs. Like A&M was like, screw it. We're just going to throw some haymakers out there. And they landed a few. And all of a sudden, once they got wobbly, they realized, well, this is just another football team, right? And I think that's what happens is so many people they mentally beat themselves when facing Alabama as opposed to the X's and O's. They make stupid mistakes like Lane Kiffin did the previous week. I mean, Jimbo Fisher didn't do that, and now all of a sudden that extension looks a little bit better that they signed than it did probably a week ago, right?
Are you kidding? He might get another one before the end of the day after you knock off the number one team in the country. What does that say about Zach Calzada? I mean, this is a kid who has been ripped for weeks. Ever since he came in against Colorado, he hasn't been able to move the ball. He hasn't looked good, and he looked like a completely different player in that game.
Well, what he did was he looked like a guy that didn't have Jimbo Fisher in his ear on every single play, right? I mean, that was one of the things over the last couple of weeks. Jimbo knew, hey, I got to get this guy the cliff notes, and we got to get it up to speed immediately because Haynes King was, thought to be their starter. So what I was impressed with is that Jimbo kind of said, hey, this is a game plan. And, in years before, it looked like it was just more of a simplified, almost like, Zach, what do you want to run? And they were able to do it. I just kind of felt it was just something special brewing because it just felt that Alabama was out of sorts. I mean, even looking at them, and I was talking to some guys on their football, on their training staff, that they're like, it just had a weird vibe going in. And you could tell, not disinterested by any means. Alabama doesn't do that. They just seemed, it didn't flow from the play calling on both sides of the ball. And that's the reason why you saw history.
Well, and that's what it is. And, Calzada to get hurt, to go into the tent. I don't know if they use the magic soccer spray or what, but for him to come back
Mr.
into
Miyagi.
that game.
Jimbo went there with his Mr. Miyagi hands and he started like rubbing the knee. I mean, I thought he tore the ACL, MCL, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to have to go to a freshman walk-on. And sure enough, he comes back. And then Jimbo today says he's going to be able to play with no issues. I'm like, holy, that's incredible to say the least.
It was, and the kicker, I mean, just everything about it. And of course, from the national level, and I certainly understand why this is more of the story as opposed to celebrating the win for A&M and the incredible win. What's the fallout here for Alabama when it comes to the playoff and possibly playing for a national title?
Well, I mean, not much. I mean, because now what they did was, Alabama has gotten the benefit of the doubt, rightfully so, with how much success they have, that they basically show up to the first tee of college football with the mulligan in their pocket, right? And they use that mulligan against Texas A&M, which ultimately would be a top 25 ranked team, so it won't go down as a bad, especially road loss. But what it does is means that they have to run the table, including the SEC championship game. It's just that simple. Another loss, and boom, they're done like everybody else. So, again, they kind of still control their fate because they won. The other team in the West is going to be good as Ole Miss, but they already won the head-to-head. So, again, just no room for error. But now, they looked human against Florida. They just got beat by A&M. The problem is there's nobody else in the SEC West that's probably going to give them a run for their money.
Very true. Peter Burns from the SEC Network with us here on the Blitz. What did you think of that great SEC matchup in Dallas as OU rallied to knock off my Longhorns in an embarrassing loss for Sark and the Longhorns?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the deal. Like, to me, I learned more about Texas than I did Oklahoma in that game, and in a positive way, right? Like, I didn't expect Sark in Texas I expect them to be a couple of steps behind, especially after what happened in the Arkansas game. So to see them be able to go toe-to-toe with Oklahoma, yeah, it stinks, but it just gave me actually more of a positive outlook that Sark's going to be able to get his players and his systems installed quicker than expected. I mean, I think that's what I took out of it. And also, I mean, they got another great, quarterback in Caleb Williams. I mean, Lincoln Riley continues to turn out great quarterbacks. And even when Spencer Rattler didn't live up to the hype, boom, he, puts Caleb Williams in there and ends up being an absolute game changer. So don't feel bad about the Longhorns, man. I'll tell you, I ended up, again, being more positive about them than anything.
I don't know, man. I saw them face a little adversity and they ran. They wilted. They ended up in the fetal position as soon as things started to go bad.
You know what that was, though? I think that was just a depth issue. I mean, at some point that they just realized they didn't have enough guns on defense. They didn't have the guys that you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with college football playoff contending teams. And, I mean, that happens, right? Especially in your midst of guys, bailing out of the Tom Herman era and a year behind of COVID and recruiting. So, hey, look, positive Pete here. Come on, Minix. Be with me, baby. It'll be all right.
Glass is not half full, man. And look, I predicted them to come to the Valero Alamo Bowl, and I think they might have sealed that invitation with what happened in the Cotton Bowl this past weekend. High-scoring game for sure, which I don't know if the SEC types are used to as much, but Ole Miss and Arkansas, man, they played a Big 12 style game.
Yeah, I mean, again, that kind of felt like arena football, and both of those defenses are just atrocious. But a shout out to Sam Pittman, because they're going back and forth in this arena football league type game in Oxford, and he decides to go for 2 on the road. I mean, that was awesome. That's exactly what we would do playing NCAA football in the Xbox, and that's what he did. So again, I don't necessarily like that style of football. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it doesn't feel kind of like SEC football. But again, the game has changed a little bit. And now on the other flip side of it, Lane Kiffin, they will be favored in every single game going forward, Jason. So, I mean, that loss to Alabama obviously hurts them, but there's a legit chance that Ole Miss could go 11-1 with Lane Kiffin in his second year. That'd be a hell of a turnaround for that program.
It would be. And again, thanks to all the Alabama fans, Lane's got plenty of popcorn to get through the rest of the season. And you needed it all for that game against Arkansas. All of it.
I mean, listen, I need some popcorn and just to kind of put a smile on my face as an LSU fan after what happened against Kentucky. I mean, listen, the Burns household was in a dark spot after Alabama lost, because my wife's a diehard Alabama fan. LSU lost, and then I looked at my bank account after I went to Disney. I'm like, this was not a happy Burns household come Sunday morning. I'll tell you that.
That is Peter Burns, a radio pro, because somehow he knew my next transition was going to be to LSU. Does Ed O get fired at the end of this year? Does he make it to the end of the year?
Well, I mean, it's all in his hands at this point. The problem is that they've lost about 10 players already, and then they lost Keyshawn Butte, who was their number 1 wide receiver, to an ankle injury. He's done for the year. So, listen, I think they owe it to him to at least give him the shot for the rest of the year. The problem is, Minix, they got Florida coming up. Then they got Ole Miss. They've got Alabama. They got Arkansas. Where the hell is the wins going to come from, right? And I've always said this as a sports fan, going back to my days and being in San Antonio and loving the Spurs. When the Spurs would win a title, I would not moan or complain about the Spurs. I gave myself a 2-year window, right? Now, the good thing for San Antonio Spurs fan is that we would normally win it every 2 years, back in 99, 03, 05, 07, right? But I gave myself, after you win a title, 2 years where you can't complain. So I'm at the end of the 2 years coming up. It's next year that I'll start complaining. The problem is I don't know if my boy Ed Ogeron is going to be out there any longer to cheer him on.
So you might have a 2-year plan where you can't complain. The problem is the coach in college football does not have 2 losing seasons after a national championship. There's only so much goodwill that can build up in a championship year. Last year, bit of a pass. This year, in college football versus so many other sports, if you're not winning, that love goes away in a hurry.
Well, especially on a program like that, right? Like if you're Kentucky, Mark Stoops gets a ton of time to build a program. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, that gets a ton of time to build a program, where they want it. If you're at LSU, the expectation is pass or fail. Did you win a championship, or that's a pass? Did you lose? Did you not play for a championship? That's a fail. So, it's a different level. And it goes to show you, too, the importance of hiring good coordinators. I mean, think about that. I think the reason why A&M upset Alabama is because of Mike Elgo's hire a couple years ago. They had a great defensive plan. They knew what they were doing. And really what's done at Ogeron and LSU and some other programs throughout college football is just hiring inexpensive or inexperienced coordinators, and that's doomed them down to Baton Rouge right now.
It certainly has. Who's on, in your mind, the short list to replace him?
I mean, the names you hear are everybody. You hear Lane Kiffin's name thrown around. James Franklin, of course, over at Penn State, who I think is probably going to be a shoo-in for the Southern Cal job out there. I don't know. I mean, like I said, that's the one thing. Scott Woodward, the athletic director, who used to be the AD over at Texas A&M, of course, he's normally kind of silent about things, right? We didn't know he was going to go grab Kim Mulkey out of Baylor to be the women's basketball coach over at LSU, and boom, that happened. He had landed a monster hire for the baseball team in Jay Johnson. So, I mean, he is he moves in silence right now.
And he likes the big names.
I can't even get a good report. No, and he's got some money behind it too.
Yeah, and he likes the big names. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But it's only a matter of time in college football. When you're winning, everybody loves you. Ask Jeff Traylor, and if you're not winning, you're going to be out of a job. That does lead me to the next question. Jeff Traylor, his name buzzing in your circles up there at the SEC network?
What's interesting, not really, just simply for the fact of, there's so much, like, I love the SEC, but the SEC also pokes their nose up and looks up and go, oh, well, Jamie Chadwell at Coastal Carolina, I mean, I don't know if he can do it. Billy Napier, who's doing a great job at Louisiana Lafayette right now. Oh, I don't know if he could be an SEC coach, right? I mean, athletic directors think huge right now. And the sad part about it is I'm not sure if anyone's done a better job of kind of coaching his roster and building a program than what Traylor's done at UTSA. It just hasn't pierced through yet. So, that's why that win against Western Kentucky was so big, is that, hey, start getting votes, start getting ranked, and those names get in there. And truthfully, as a UTSA fan, I hate to say this, I don't want to publicize him whatsoever because I don't want anybody stealing him for the Roadrunners right now, man. I'm just like, I don't even know. I never heard of the guy. I don't know much about him. Just let him do his thing for a couple more years.
I'm with you, but, coaches have to strike while the iron is hot. And I know his name, whether it's going to be mentioned in some Power 5 circles. And the question will then come down to, does he want to stay here with his family or just go back to Brinks truck up? And he'll have that opportunity.
Well, and that's also another reason why, if you're listening, go support this program, right? Because this is good news, right? If you're a program like this, you want people to go ahead and use it right now as a stepping stone. Because, listen, nobody's going to stay here for 25 years, right? That just doesn't happen in college football with the jobs and the money that's out there. But what you can do is build it. And if you build the attendance, more and more people will come. And all of a sudden, hey, it looks a whole lot different. And you can compete with college football and become a group of 5 team that all of a sudden can be a contender and maybe one day play for a college football playoff spot once the playoff expands.
Absolutely. Peter Burns of the SEC Network. I know it was a rough weekend around your house, man. Always appreciate the time.
I'm going to go drink more tequila. See you. Bye.
Sure. See ya. Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Speaking of Jeff Traylor, he will join us coming up at 6 o'clock. We'll talk some Cowboys football. 3-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston joins us at 5:30. Mondays with the Moose, but the Astros, they lead the White Sox, and the White Sox are crying. They're accusing the Astros of cheating. We'll talk about it as we continue here on the Blitz. If you need your logo on gear, you need hats, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club down on San Pedro. Sam has inventory in stock. Not many can say that, but Sammy, he can. He's got the inventory. He's got everything in stock. You need polos. You need T-shirts. You need hats. He has them, and he has them in stock. He has the largest selection of caps, including the popular Richardson-style cap in stock. In fact, Sammy has over 10,000 hats on display in his showroom. So if you need an item done, you need 1, you need 100, you need 1,000, you need 10,000 items. Easy for me to say. Call Sam over there at Sammy's Embroidery Club. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on shirts, on jackets, on caps, if you need uniforms, Sam is the place to go. In fact, he has over 700 uniform lines to choose from, and not just embroidery. He can do silkscreen shirts as well for any occasion. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands and is the only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. No order too small, certainly no order too big. Check the website, samsembroidery.com. Or better yet, get into that massive showroom down on San Pedro, a mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items do come with a warranty, and you work with Sammy on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him, 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Score $1,000 now into the winning keyword, cool, C-O-O-L, cool, at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The whole goal is to point people to something bigger.
What if the news was different and covered more than one side of the story? Not just the who or the what, but the why. What if it took you closer?
It's information and people want it.
So you can make up your own mind. What if the news lets you think for yourself? Introducing a new point of view. Yours. Newsy. Watch Newsy free on your TV. Learn more at newsy.com.
Still looking for that one special voice that makes you fall in love with podcasts? The one is out there and free on Spotify. With over 2 million shows and today's most talked about podcasts, Spotify is the best place to find that one special show that makes you laugh, keeps you interested, and keeps you listening for more. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-491-8606. That's 800-491-8606. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-491-8606 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Here in Texas, the heat is relentless. The storms are serious. The hail is insane. Texas weather doesn't do anything halfway, and neither should your roofer. Your roof protects your home and your family. So whether you need a simple repair or a roof replacement, metal or composition, you need a roofer you can trust. That's Stevens Roofing. They are reputable, reliable, and have always been your local roofer. Call Stevens Roofing today for a free estimate at 210-785-0994 or go to stevensroofing.net.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Do you have what it takes to be San Antonio's next sports star? Rock the Mic is back. The competition begins October 18th on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, this is Sarah Spain, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Astro fans, you had to be ready for it. Didn't take long before somebody was going to accuse the Astros of something. First series out, White Sox, they trail in the series. Ryan Tepera, relief pitcher, well, he had some things to say.
You know, it is what it is. They've obviously had a reputation of, doing some sketchy stuff over there. And, it's just, we can say that it's a little bit of a difference. I think you saw the swings and misses tonight compared to, the first 2 games at Minute Maid.
Well, I mean, that's obviously something there. But Ryan, what are you really trying to say?
I'd say really is it was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've had that playoff atmosphere, and the stadium was rocking. Obviously it's a different game here at our field. You play at Minute Maid, and they're doing something over there that's a little different. It shows you how many swings and misses they had tonight compared to Minute Maid. So, that's why you have home field advantage. And we look tomorrow, and we got another home field advantage. So we're ready to go.
Yeah. All right. So he doesn't actually say or accuse. Well, does he? I mean, he certainly implies that there's some stuff going on with the Astros. They lead the series 2-1. You look at the season, they've actually been better on the road this year than they have been at home. The game tomorrow afternoon. Today's game postponed because of weather, rain in Chicago. Unlike Southwest Airlines issues, there actually is bad weather in Chicago, so the game got moved to tomorrow. You'll be able to listen to it tomorrow afternoon right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Lance McCullers will get the start for the Astros in the game tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. But it's something that Astro fans you knew was coming. Players, managers, they were probably expecting it. Dusty Baker, maybe expecting it, but certainly not happy about the accusation.
Well, there's some heavy accusations, we're about the same runs, OPS, and everything as we are, well, actually better on the road than we are at home. And then I think they're actually better at home than they are, on the road. And so I don't have much, response to that other than I was listening to Eric Clapton this morning and he had a song, before you accuse me, you need to take a look at yourself. You know what I mean? So that's all I got to say.
All right, Dusty Baker, appreciate knowing that you like little Eric Clapton to get your day going. And he's right. The idea that the Astros this soon after, and with Dusty Baker and the new GM, they were brought in to make sure nothing ever happened again. I just think it's par for the course. It adds a little something to it. Just go finish them off. That's all the Astros can do. Go finish them off and continue on. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. As we continue, we've got a lot of Cowboys talk coming up. Daryl Johnston will join us at 5:30. RJ Ochoa will join us next. Some big Spurs news today. Say bye-bye. Luka waived by the San Antonio Spurs. We'll get into that as well as we continue. And we have some stuff to give away. I'll figure out what it is and let you know. I don't have my notes in front of me. I think, what do we have? WWE tickets to give away, and we have some movie passes that we're going to give away to something called Dune. So we will give that away before 7 o'clock tonight. RJ Ochoa, Cowboys with a huge win yesterday. 44-20, beating down Jason Garrett and the New York Giants. And I know a lot of you were out at Rue Pub watching the game. A lot of you spent a lot of time at the Rue Pub this weekend for good reason, whether it was for the Aggie game, the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight. And oh my goodness, what a fight that was. Incredible. I know Pledge was there from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 2 o'clock in the morning, then back up there on Sunday. The Texans played early. The Cowboys played late. The Sunday night game kept you there a little bit longer. And that's one of the great things about the Rue Pub. It is the best place to go watch a game, but also you're going to be there a while. You're going to eat well, too, because their food is fantastic. Their wings are the best in town, the biggest in town. They got about 15 different burgers on that menu, great salads, great apps, and the kitchen is open late till 2 a.m. every day with a full menu available for late at night eating. You don't want to go to a drive-through, get into the Rue Pub. Of course, they got all the beers in the full bar, game room, one of the best darts area in town, indoor cornhole. They've got it all. Weekday happy hour every weekday from 11 to 6. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. And one thing I can tell you, traditionally, the best Halloween party, certainly in San Antonio, certainly on the north side. Make your plans now, Saturday, October 30th, for their Halloween party that they're going to have there at the Rue Pub. $1,000 costume contest going on. DJs, they block off the parking lot. They open up the Angry Elephant, the Roo Pub, and it's just all one great party. So make your Halloween plans now to be at the Roo Pub next to the Angry Elephant, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
San Antonio Sports Star Pro Football Pick'em. Online at sasportsstar.com. Can you pick the perfect matchups all season long? If so, you could win $50,000. Weekly winner score gift cards to Pinkerton's Barbecue and the Mellow Mushroom. For official contest rules and to play, visit sasportsstar.com. Must be at least 21 years old to play this nationwide contest. One winner will be selected at the end of the season. The Pro Football Challenge from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. So why fight? Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude, with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the DivorceDude.com can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Joel, lots of college teams have school traditions like gig 'em or hook 'em and wreck 'em. It's good fun. Good fun indeed.
Nigel, why are you holding a snare drum?
I'm glad you asked, Joel. To get the word out about Quarter Moon Plumbing, AC and Heating, I suggest we institute the following Quarter Moon Yell.
Nigel, you're loud enough and I don't think a yell would...
Plum 'em!
Plum 'em?
It's perfect. We've got a whole team of fully stocked trucks, and our customers are the best in Texas. I say Quarter Moon, you say Plum 'em. Quarter Moon. You broke my sticks.
Folks, at Quarter Moon, we have a spirited tradition of solving every home problem imaginable, from plumbing to air conditioning to heating. We take pride in fixing those everyday plumbing and AC inconveniences. Call Quarter Moon Plumbing, AC, and Heating day or night, and we'll fix them. See what I did there, Nigel?
Joel, I think you better leave it to the experts.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, 210-651-5899. License number M13229, DACLA 000743435E.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. QC Kinetics, 571-0318.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Cowboys with a huge win yesterday. We're going to have to start calling this the Cowboys Power Hour. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, three-time Super Bowl champion, will join us at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. And, of course, we start the hour with RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com, our original Rock the Mic champ, which is about to get underway again. See if you could be the next RJ Ochoa. RJ, you know, the talk today on all the national shows, are the Cowboys the best team in the NFC? And I was surprised how many people said yes, including the likes of Jeff Saturday on ESPN. Where's your level right now when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, you know what, Jason? I love you more than life itself. So I'll tell you where I have the Cowboys in my power rankings that will come out tomorrow at bloggingtheboys.com.
Scoopage time.
You get the heads up. I have them fourth, not the top team in the NFC, actually not even the second team in the NFC. But some of that is like, you know, you got to give credit to the Cardinals right now. They're undefeated. So like in a power ranking space, I think the Cardinals get that deference. But honestly, I mean, if the Cowboys and Cardinals played 10 times, I think the Cowboys will win more of them. I think the only team right now that I think you can confidently say are better than the Cowboys is probably the Buccaneers, and a lot of that's the fact that they're the only team that's beaten this team. But the Rams don't scare me. The Packers don't scare me. The Seahawks obviously have taken a step back. T's and T's for Joanna. But yeah, I mean, they are the real deal, man.
I'm curious, who is your third team? Because I know how your mind works with numbers, and keeping them at number 4 in line with Dak Prescott just makes all the RJ Ochoa sense in the world.
Well, so Tampa is my number 2 team. Arizona is number 3. Dallas is 4. So the team you're missing is the number 1 team. Who do you think I think is the best team in the NFL at the moment?
In the NFL or the NFC?
This is the NFL, whole NFL power rankings. The top 4 happens to have 3 NFC teams, but you're missing number 1 right now.
I would have to go with the Buffalo Bills, the team I picked to win the Super Bowl this year.
That's right. We're on the same wavelength. Buffalo looks great. And that's kind of the only real contender that Dallas won't face this year, because they're a step above the Rams. But Dallas has already played the Chargers, already played the Bucs. They'll play the Chiefs. They'll play the Cardinals. And so they're going to get their money's worth for the season. But, a Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl with Snoop Dogg, on the mic would feel awfully nostalgic.
And it would be the second time that the Cowboys and Bills would play in the Super Bowl in Los Angeles.
That's true. If you want to qualify it that way, that's very true. I'm trying to think of other things that happened in 1992 or January of 93 to kind of bring this thing home. But that would be sick, man. I mean, that would be sick. But is that not fair? Like, something we talked about on our post-game show last night was, what's the expectation? Because the expectation has clearly changed. And I think it's a fair thing. A lot of people were like, win the Super Bowl. But I still don't know that you can go that far. I think it's a fair expectation to say, given who you are now, given who your division is, given your path, if you don't make the NFC Championship game, then the season may be a failure. That's an aggressive word, but I think it is because of, all the circumstances around you.
I think it's a fair word, failure. I mean, the expectations for this team, and I go back to, I think Tony Romo quarterbacked 3 years where the legitimate expectation was go win a Super Bowl. And something always happened with Tony Romo, whether it was the Dez not catch that ended up being a catch. They probably should have won the Super Bowl that year. They at least would have made the Super Bowl. They've had a couple of really good teams that could never get over the hump. There was always something. And with this team, this year's version of the Dallas Cowboys, and I know Jimmy Johnson said this on the Fox post-game show yesterday, reminds me of the teams that he coached. That's what he said. They're as good as those teams. I don't know that you could say that yet because they've got to go win a championship, but they certainly have all the makings. We're 5 weeks into this thing, and granted, the first 2 weeks, they could have easily been 2-0 or 0-2. Those came down to last-second kicks, but they have shown the many ways in which they can beat you week in and week out. You're deep enough in the season to say this team is for real.
Yeah, and I think, because everybody's obviously quick, right, to say, well, this is just like this year, whatever. Entering the Panthers game, they were in the top 10 in both offensive EPA per play and defensive EPA per play allowed. And the last time a Cowboys team was in the top 10 on both offense and defense in that metric at that point of the season was 2007. So your mind runs to like, oh, this is the 2007 season. But, obviously the Cowboys have had success in different years since then, to your point. And I was, recording with somebody for one of the episodes on our podcast network this morning. And this team kind of has the run game of 2014, but the defensive prowess of 2018, but the kind of overall stability of 2016 with kind of the passing game that evolved in 2019. So in a weird way, they've kind of gone back in time, like the Avengers when they went and took all those Infinity Stones, shout out to Pledge. And they've kind of picked the best versions of themselves from different seasons. And this sounds like crazy, but they've put it all together in one neat package here in 2021 because the offense, to your point, they can get you a number of different ways. Defensively, they're getting turnovers. in years past, it's been the chicken or the egg. You can't have both here, but the Cowboys have the chicken, the egg, the coop, the rooster. I mean, they literally have the coop and Amari Cooper. I mean, so it's almost alarming. It's unsettling that they are this well-rounded. It scares you a little bit.
And they're doing it without Leo Collins on the offensive line, yet that offensive line is doing a hell of a job blocking. They're doing it without DeMarcus Lawrence. They're doing it without some other key pieces on the defense. And even they let Jalen Smith go, and they don't miss a beat. Jabril Cox played well yesterday. I mean, he knocked the quarterback for the Giants out of the game, literally. And, the idea that Jason Garrett's not dumb. I know a lot of Cowboy fans might want to argue that, but he did go to Princeton. But they ran a play against a rookie who had not played a lot of defense at the NFL level. They tried to catch number 14 making a mistake, and it didn't happen.
It bothers me so much that he wears number 14 as a linebacker, but I'll move past that. It's unfortunate that Daniel Jones was hurt on the play, and obviously, we're all hoping he's healthy and gets right. So it makes it difficult to celebrate that play. But that really, you don't want to speak ill of Jalen Smith, but that's not a play that Jalen makes. To be blunt, to be honest, to be frank, I mean, to be however you want to put it, that's a play that you need your linebacker to make, and Jalen just doesn't. He doesn't have that closing speed. Maybe he had it once upon a time 3 years ago in 2018 when everything was clicking for him. Everybody remembers the play he made on Deshaun Watson and against Alvin Kamara later in the season. But Jabril Cox was, and that's the thing, man. I mean, Jabril Cox is like the fifth rookie that they're getting elite production from this year. I mean, Micah Parsons is starring. Osa Odighizuwa is starring. Chauncey Golston had a great game last week. Quentin Bohanna has had some nice moments so far. I mean, so just like welcome to the party, Jabril Cox. I mean, they're not even playing. You mentioned Lyle Collins is out. DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously, too. Donovan Wilson, shout out to the Fighting Texas Aggies of College Station, Texas, for that big win on Saturday night. Hasn't been playing. Kelvin Joseph, the team's second-round pick, hasn't been playing. Neville Gallimore, their third-round defensive tackle from last year, hasn't been playing. And some of those things have opened up opportunities for other players. And so maybe you hate to call them blessings in disguise, but that's where this team is different, too, is, in years past, under Jason Garrett, if everything went according to plan, the plan that he devised in his office with his Princeton level education, everything would work out. But so often in the NFL, it doesn't. You're going to be challenged. Players are going to be injured. You're going to have to rely on depth. And that's where this team can sustain itself where others couldn't in the past.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You look at the defense and what Diggs continues to do. Another interception yesterday. At some point, people are going to quit throwing towards him as much. The question I have when that happens, and I don't know that he's going to go all Dion and just take away half the field because he's rotating, he's following the best receivers, and, quarterbacks are going to try to get the ball to their best receiver. Anthony Brown had a nice game yesterday, had a nice pick six. He also interfered with a guy that somehow still caught a pass. If they start working more Anthony Brown just to stay away from number 7, can he handle that workload and pressure? Or what do the Cowboys have to do to get him some additional help?
I mean, maybe that's where Kelvin Joseph comes in. But it's clear that Anthony Brown is the weakest link on the defensive side of the ball. He's been targeted a ton. He's been picked on a ton because who wants to throw at Trayvon Diggs except for literally every quarterback the Cowboys have played this season. But that's tough. But that's, at this point, I think Dan Quinn's earned kind of the benefit of the doubt, right? I mean, everything he's touched has kind of turned to gold so far this season. But yeah, I mean, and that's like no roster's flawless. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has A-plus superstar players, at all 22 positions. But that's where the Cowboys can be had, and that's where they're going to have to, maybe they give him some safety help. Maybe, I mean, maybe they just kind of cross their fingers and hope. But that is definitely a point of weakness when it comes to this defense.
When with all the circles that you're always running in and the different insight that you get, Canada was just incredible in training camp the week we were in Oxnard. And when Diggs came out of the game, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, against the Panthers,
and Canada got in the game, and it looked like he did okay. I'm just curious why he isn't getting more playing time instead of Anthony Brown. Is Anthony Brown better than most of us think. Because I know when it comes to corners, there's a lot of times where, depending on the coverage, who was maybe supposed to release the guy and the safety should have picked him up, although we all want to blame Anthony Brown. And that's just life as a defensive back, that unless you know what the call is, you really don't know whose responsibility that was. It just seems over and over it's Anthony Brown. Could he be better than what we give him credit for?
I don't know that I would categorize it as being better. He might just be more reliable. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. Like, he might raise your floor, whatever, slight margin that is. I mean, and that's what it's about. I mean, and to be fair, I mean, the Cowboys released Jalen Smith last week, and you mentioned it. There are 3 players left from that 2016 draft class: Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Anthony Brown. I mean, he has hung on for a very long time, and really kind of evolved into this role. And I mean, so like through that lens, you're way ahead on Anthony Brown. You've gotten way more out of him than you ever possibly could have imagined when they took him out of the 6th round 5 years ago. But I do think in that sense, he knows this defense. He knows this, group of players. Obviously, he's not as foreign of a injection like Maurice Kennedy would be. But I do think you're going to have to rely on Maurice Kennedy at some point. And again, I think that's where maybe Kelvin Joseph comes in. Although, people love to say like, oh, just, when Kelvin Joseph comes back, he's taking Anthony Brown's starting spot. It's like, dude, starting at corner in the NFL is very difficult. And, Anthony Brown's not great at it, but I do think that as hard as it is to believe, he just has the highest floor based on his experience in the NFL in general and with the Dallas Cowboys specifically.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz. I was at the game yesterday, so I didn't get the enjoyment of Joe Buck.
I'm back on Instagram. I saw all of it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You've been there, I mean, that's a great way to do a game. But you don't get Troy and Joe. What was the turning point for you of that game? Because it was a game at halftime, surprisingly, but because the Cowboys had allowed it to be with some mistakes, a weird interception thrown down. And you look at this Cowboys team right now is playing at a level that when they lose, will they get beat or will they beat themselves? They were beating themselves, even though they had the lead at halftime. It was only a game, from what I could see, because the Cowboys allowed it to be.
Yeah, I thought the first half, the first quarter really was one of the worst quarters that Dak has played in a long time. And call that what you will. Obviously, a really emotional game with it being the effective 1-year anniversary, return to the scene of the crime, etc. But I would argue that the turning point was the 49-yard touchdown to CeeDee Lamb, because that was kind of a okay, this is still in their wheelhouse. The Giants can't do that. This is going to come. This is a sign of things to come. But I think it was stealing that touchdown at the end of the first half to Amari Cooper, going into halftime with a lead. But if you're looking for an actual swing point, it probably was the Trayvon interception, because at halftime and the general conversation while you were drinking a lot of water was, okay, Daniel Jones is out, Mike Glennon's hurt. This is unfortunate, but there's no way this should be a game in the second half. The Cowboys should come out and roll over the Giants, and they did that. I thought that, they got the interception. They just poured it on. It was another fantastic third quarter, and that's kind of where they've been the last 2 weeks, is they've kind of not sleptwalked through the first half, but, even against the Panthers, there was this conversation of like, man, they were losing that game 14-13, and then they had one of the greatest third quarters they've ever had when they just absolutely exploded, and Trayvon had the 2 interceptions. And so that's, may call it halftime adjustments, but I definitely say when they come out of the locker room in general for the second half, they're a different team, and the results start to show that, or have started to show that over the last couple of weeks.
Well, and they play their third quarters have been incredible. And against Carolina, great third quarter, not so good fourth quarter. This game, they put a team away and extended, and we haven't seen that from the Cowboys in so long. They had them on the ropes, and they delivered the knockout blow.
Yeah, and that's, Mike McCarthy was criticized for the way he handled the end of the first half against the Eagles, kind of dismissing that extra possession. And I didn't have as big of a problem with the end of the game against the Panthers. I thought the Cowboys, because you reach a certain point, where it's like, hey, don't risk anybody. Don't go have somebody get hurt because you're trying to play hero. You're trying to, pour it on. Like, send your message. Like, I love Zeke high stepping it into the end zone, do all that stuff. But at a certain point, it's, unless you're Vic Fangio, it's about, ending the game. I guess Vic Fangio actually supports that line of thought, thinking back over that. But I'm not concerned. And I think, this is strange because they've often been this fourth quarter team, right? They've often been this team that's had to try to pull a rabbit out of a hat or a hat out of a rabbit, like Jason Witten said, in the fourth quarter and pull off something miraculous. But they don't. I mean, their greatest flaw, seriously, is that they build great leads and then just, kind of chill a little bit. And I think that they've earned that right, and they know the level of comfortability they can play with. And, they haven't lost doing that. And maybe you could argue they're going to do it, soon. But, I mean, I love that. I love, building your mountain and then, grabbing a drink, putting it on ice and just watching the clock tick down to 000.
New England coming up this week. New England got a huge win. No, I can't even call it that over Houston. But Bill Belichick is a defensive wizard. And I look at what this offense has been. Game 1, 58 passes. Dak said at training camp in Oxnard, if he throws for 5,000 or 6,000 yards, that means they're not being balanced. 300 passing yards yesterday. Zeke runs for 110. Pollard runs for 75. They're staying balanced. They're doing everything. But now you got Belichick against Kellen Moore. That's quite the matchup coming up. What are you expecting to see Sunday against New England?
This is maybe my favorite game of the year that I'm looking forward to so far because of the matchup. Kellen Moore's offensive disposition, aggressively attack what the defense gives you. And that defense doesn't give you a lot. And, I know the Patriots obviously aren't who we've known them to be for so long, but look at the way they played Tampa, a couple of weeks ago. They certainly are still capable of confusing people from a defensive standpoint and giving them their all. And so I think that, Kellen's going to do that. Kellen's going to take the low-hanging fruit. And I think the Cowboys, they can run on this Patriots team. I think they're not going to try anything. They're not going to, try to be heroes themselves. They're not going to try to air it out. They're not going to do anything that's going to maximize or even enlarge the level of risk that, goes into this game, because that's how you lose games. You lose games trying to throw these YOLO balls like Mike Glennon did, and they get picked off by elite players. And there are a lot of elite players in the NFL. And so I think the Cowboys are going to be smart. They're going to be methodical. I think that they're not going to do what they've done every time they played the Patriots, where they're going to try to hold the ball forever and put together 14-minute drives, because that's the Jason Garrett way. And I think that they'll build a lead, and I think they might, pressure Mac Jones, cause a couple turnovers, couple short fields off 3 and outs, and it'll just be too much. And then, Mac Jones has to get risky, and that's when the turnovers start to come like they have the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Diggs is going to add to his collection. That's exactly what he's going to do. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. Always appreciate it. Enjoy the week. Enjoy your Victory Polo Monday.
Hey, I'm looking for new polos. I'll hit up Sammy. You know what I mean? Figure something out, because this is nuts. I mean, and I don't want to wear white 2 weeks in a row or navy 2 weeks in a row. I don't want people to be like, man, he's wearing the same one, not doing laundry. I just want to be cool about it.
Well, I mean, there's something about doing the same thing every week because, superstitious stuff.
I suppose. But either way, you both look sharp. Pledge didn't participate in Victory Polo Monday, which offends me. But, you guys still both look sharp.
I mean, are you kidding? He's a Texan fan. He goes with wife beater Monday because he got beat on Sunday. I mean, that's typically what he has to do.
I think he's actually going with Ben Affleck cardigan Monday. That's what Pledge is rocking right now.
He's
in the movie Geely.
When the cardigan comes off, he's just in the t-shirt. I mean, it's a fashion I'm not down with.
Well, Pledge a pretty fashionable guy.
A blue Cowboys polo. I'm good to go.
Sweet. Well,
good stuff.
Again, sorry to Joanna for the Russell Wilson thing. That sucks. It doesn't really suck, but it sucks.
Yeah, she's fine. She might not even be aware. It's all good. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. We'll catch up to you next week. Make sure you're reading all his coverage and all the coverage there at bloggingtheboys.com. And you think about Diggs, and you think about an interception in every game, the pace that he is on, his ability to track a ball. And I go back to Oxnard, and when Trayvon Diggs joined us on the Blitz in Oxnard, I asked him about his 14 pass breakups from a season ago, 14 PBUs. And dude said he wasn't happy about it. He said if he got his hands on a football, he needs to intercept it. And that's what he worked on all offseason. His offseason work is certainly paying off. And, after the game yesterday, he credited the man that lost to Jimbo Fisher. The first time Nick Saban's ever lost to a former assistant. He credits Nick Saban because, he went to Alabama to be a wide receiver.
I was hurt at first, honestly. I called my brother. I was crying. He not just someone to be like, oh, it's okay. Somebody be like, nah, come on, let's go. Now we got to go to work. He one of those type. And that's exactly what I did. I sucked it up and just got back to work. And I thank Saban for that.
Yeah, well, he wasn't happy with Saban when he was told, you know what, you're not a wide receiver like your brother, but you can be a really good defensive back. And he is turning into that for the Dallas Cowboys. And they think about where they got him in the draft. What a steal. Let's talk more Cowboys as we continue here on the Blitz. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, will join us next here on San Antonio Sports Star. First, let me tell you about Kielbasa Smoked Meats. I'm a big fan of Kielbasa. And what you might not know about Kielbasa, they're a great local San Antonio company. They were started here in San Antonio in 1949. They are a national brand now, but they still take care of their hometown of San Antonio. In fact, this year alone, Kielbasa has donated more than 2 tons of sausage to the San Antonio Food Bank, donating premium sausage with a special label from their program called Links of Love. And through this program, Kielbasa is able to provide to local food banks and disaster relief efforts. So when you go into the grocery store and you buy yourself some Kielbasa, whether it's the great Kielbasa sausage, the breakfast links, the chorizo, the Kielbasa bacon, you're going to get to enjoy that, but you're also helping Kielbasa provide others that are going through pretty rough times. You can learn more about Kielbasa's Links of Love program on their website, kielbasa.com. You're craving that Kielbasa. Get into the grocery store. Get yourself some Kielbasa today. 3-time Super Bowl champ, the Moose, Daryl Johnston, joins us right after this Sports Center update with James Pledger.
Thanks, Jason. Well, the Houston Astros couldn't finish off their sweep of the Chicago White Sox, falling in Chicago 12-6 last night. Game 4 earlier this afternoon was postponed due to storms in the area and will now be played tomorrow with first pitch set for 1:07, a game you can actually catch right here on your home for the MLB postseason. San Antonio Sports Star. It all starts at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon with the pregame. Jose Urquidy was supposed to get the start in game 4 today, but with the extra day of rest, the Astros are now sending Lance McCullers to the mound to close out the series as he got the win in Game 1 for Houston. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are 2-2 on the preseason, being the Orlando Magic 101-100 behind DeJounte Murray's 18 points. Devin Vassell added 16 off the bench, and Keldon Johnson had 12 as the Spurs returned to action on Friday against the Rockets. Speaking of the Spurs, today they announced that they have waived for Luka Samanic. The 19th overall pick of the 2019 draft, Samanic averaged 3.8 points and 2.2 rebounds in over 9 minutes a game in 36 games. But in 39 games for the Austin Spurs of the NBA G League, he averaged over 16 points and 8 boards a game. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors. Rated #1 for reliability in the under 100 horsepower category, they're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $1,400. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out, because when you find the perfect home, you don't want to lose it to anybody else. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers and their agents greater confidence in you. We've already helped over 1 million clients just like you reach their home financing goals this year alone. So remember this, what can help you buy the home you really want? Rocket can. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET. That's rocketmortgage.com or call 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information appraisal and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Been thinking about natural biologic therapies to treat your chronic joint pain? Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics.
To me, it is such an easy decision. If you are truly looking to avoid surgery and not treat yourself with Band-Aids like steroids and pain meds, then really there is no other option. And that's what I love so much about what I get to do.
QC Kinetics offers a variety of restorative natural options to rejuvenate the tissue in your joints and give you your life back.
When they come back a few months later, and it's so affirming to see their quality of life change in such a positive way.
Are you tired of the joint pain that keeps you from living your best life? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about these exciting restorative and regenerative options.
And you've been looking for an answer, something to avoid surgery. I'm just giving you the answer you've been looking for. QC Kinetics. Kinetics is energy in motion. We want to keep you in motion.
Get your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318 in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
Introducing the latest innovation in water technology. The new Nebbia by Moen Quattro Showerhead offers 4 unique experiences to choose from, designed to soothe, clarify, relieve, and cleanse. An indulgent shower experience engineered to use up to 50% less water. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? Visit Moen.com to learn more.
This is The Blitz with Jason Minix and the brightest sports insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Time for Mondays with the Moose. 3-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston, now an analyst with Fox Sports, joining us now. Moose, always appreciate you taking the time on a Monday. Boy, the Cowboys looked so good yesterday, especially in the second half. Jimmy Johnson said in the post-game show, it reminds him of the Cowboys teams he had. That means the teams you were a part of. Are you starting to see the resemblance in the two teams?
I am. I think the big thing, obviously, is on the offensive side of the ball, with the ability of the talent to have to win a game, whichever way is needed that Sunday. With Dak and that great group of receivers, with Amari and CD and Michael Gallup when he gets back. Cedric Wilson has really stepped up. Noah Brown. I mean, it's amazing. You just continue to watch and you see how many weapons they actually have, and then the running game. I mean, I think it's now 4 consecutive games with over 200 yards rushing, which is amazing in the NFL. So, however you want to defend them, they're going to have an answer or a solution on how to make you pay for that style. I think the defensive side of the ball is growing and getting better, but I think a lot of people forget our defense was number 1 in the NFL one year. Back in the day. I mean, we had a tremendous defense that was always a little bit overshadowed by our offense because we had all the high profile stars on the offensive side of the ball. But boy, do we have some really, really good defenses, and Dan Quinn's group is trending that way. I think the big thing they're doing this year, and this has been a point of emphasis for multiple seasons now, and they were never able to kind of crack that code. But Dan Quinn has established a takeaway mentality with this group, and Trayvon Diggs and his skills on the outside, that's the most impressive thing that they're doing defensively, is getting more possessions back for that offense. So playing very well complementary, good special teams. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities. I can see why Jimmy made that comment.
Well, and again, they've got to go win. I thought Tony Romo had some teams that, could hoist a Lombardi trophy, and they never got it done. Dak Prescott's got to go win to really get the comparisons to the teams that you were a part of. But when he said that, and I'm hearing that, I'm thinking, all right, the styles are so different today, but the Cowboys were run first with Emmitt Smith, and, but you had the great receivers, obviously, and Michael Irvin, and you think about the tight end with Jay Novacek, Alvin Harper. Troy could make all the throws. It wasn't asked to always throw for 300-400 yards a game because it was run first. And outside of the Tampa Bay game, is that what we're seeing with this Cowboys team? They tell us they want to be run first, and they've said that for years, and they haven't always shown that on the field. This year, Kellen Moore seems to be run first, with the exception of the opener against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I think that was based on what your opponent does well. Todd Bowles and that run defense from 2020 was the best in the NFL, and we used to do that against Philadelphia. I think if people think back to the early 90s, when Philadelphia had that great defensive front. When we played them, we did not run the ball a ton there in the first half. We always came out and were probably tilted a little bit more toward the passing game. But Norv's style at that time was to kind of get the defense tired from rushing the passer, get them chasing the football, and then come back in the second half and really kind of grind out that clock with the run game. So I think really week one, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Everybody has talked about getting back to, controlling the game and running the football efficiently and 58 pass attempts. But I think that was just a product of the opponent. And now, you're matching up against, these last 4 games where you can kind of come out and be who you want to be. Every once in a while, you're going to have an opponent that takes you out of your identity. But if you have the ability to match that with what you can do on an offensive side of the ball, and that's what Dallas has, that's a huge plus. So, I think that if you really look at it, they wanted to be that, through the Tony Romo era. And I agree with you. Sometimes they slid from that. My biggest thing is sometimes at crunch time, whether it's inside the red zone, it's a goal to go situation, it's a third down, 3 to 5. I think in some of those instances, I'd still like to see them be a little bit more run centric. It seems if they have tilted in a direction towards the pass, it's been at the critical junctures of the game, and sometimes that has not worked out well for them.
Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joining us here on the Blitz, as he does every Monday at 5:30. Daryl, watching the shows today, whether on the NFL Network or on ESPN, a lot of talk about, are the Cowboys the best team in the NFC? And I was surprised at how many people said yes, including Jeff Saturday on ESPN earlier today. How good is this Cowboys team right now?
I think they deserve to be in the discussion of the top teams in the NFC. I felt coming into the season that they would win the East. That they should be prohibitive favorites to win the East. Then it would depend on how the defense progressed through the year as to what level they would get to. Would they be able to win a playoff game? Would they be able to get into the divisional round? Could they get all the way to the championship game? I think those things are going to be answered as we move forward, and a lot of that will be the health of the team, and then also the improvement of the defense. But if they continue to trend the way they are trending right now, and you look around the NFC, I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't be in the conversation with the Green Bay Packers, with the LA Rams, with the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Arizona Cardinals still have more to prove than the Dallas Cowboys do to people that are out there that want to put those teams in the group of the upper echelon in the NFC. So, yeah, I think Dallas absolutely deserves to be in that conversation. And are they there yet? I think you can make a case for every one of those teams. And Dallas has a very valid case. Matthew Stafford's in his first year with the Rams. Arizona still plays that style of football. I don't know how well that transitions into the playoff style. And in the Green Bay, we're still trying to sort out exactly who they were. Have they put enough distance from that week one thrashing by the Saints that now we see who the Green Bay Packers really are? And I would say right now it's probably Dallas, Green Bay, as your two top teams in the NFC. and we'll have to see how this pans out as we get through the season.
And obviously, I mean, keep winning. You've got the Cowboys have New England this week, then a bye. Schedule is still on the easier side, if you will. But at what point, I mean, because I think about when you came into the league, the Cowboys weren't a good football team, and you developed into one under Jimmy Johnson. At what point do you remember in that locker room saying, you know what, guys, we're good. I mean, we're Super Bowl good. We're good. And then how do you handle that success? Because I've got a feeling the Cowboys right now probably are going, we could easily be undefeated right now if it wasn't for that Tampa Bay game. At the same time, you look at the Charger game, they could have been 0-2 or 2-0. They were a kick away from either at the beginning of the year. But how do you, when you realize you are that good, handle that inside the locker room?
Yeah, for us, it probably happened that first spring that Norv came in, which was kind of the precursor to the 11-5 season in 1991. I think you could see, how the pieces fit in place to what he wanted to do offensively with what we had on our roster, and it was really a perfect mesh of talent and responsibility and skill set. So for us on the offensive side of the ball, I was really, really excited going into the 91 season. The 92 season, I think, is when we really started to think about us being one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. There was a huge victory against the 11-0 Redskins in 91 that was the first of, I think, 5 consecutive to finish that season. And then that led to kind of the great start in 92. So, that 91 season was important for us. And I'll even go back into the offseason with Norv being there during the quarterback schools. I've always felt it was easier to overcome adversity than it is to handle success. I think, as people, we're all wired, in a certain way. When we run into some adversity, we're going to fight and grind our way through that. I think when it comes to handling success, that's what really kind of separates people. Some people don't know how to handle it, and it doesn't last for them very long. Other people embrace it and are humble, and it tends to extend. So that'll be interesting to see how these guys do that, because I do think it's much harder. As soon as you start patting yourself on the back, somebody's going to, knock you off that podium and get you back into reality. So, but I know that staff's going to keep everybody grounded. They really haven't accomplished anything yet, as you pointed out. Very easily could have been 0-2 at the start of the season. So just, take it one game at a time. I mean, that's the mantra that I've had, for my coaches since I was in high school is, it's always 7 days to humility. So it's 1 week at a time, one opponent at a time, and just keep moving and grinding forward.
Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joining us here on the Blitz. You mentioned the staff. Last week, I noticed Jerry and Steven both on their radio shows there in Dallas on 105.3 The Fan seem to go out of their way to compliment Mike McCarthy. And I know Kellen Moore gets a lot of attention. Dan Quinn is getting a lot of attention for what he's done with this defense. How much credit should Mike McCarthy be getting for this start for this Cowboys team?
I think he should get a lot. Mike allowed the offense to stay the Kellen Moore offense. He was the new guy in. Your offensive coordinator and your quarterback are the guys that are familiar with that. Why come in and change that? That shows a tremendous lack of ego by Mike McCarthy to come down here and as the odd guy out, learn that system and add some elements from what you've done in Green Bay and throughout your career to be a component of that offense. But it's not going to be the foundation. It's not going to be the core. That's going to remain, something that your offensive coordinator and your star quarterback are familiar with. So that was unique. I was part of a transition like that where, we dropped our whole offense and started a new one that really didn't fit the skill set of our players. And it was very frustrating at times. So I think that shows, a great team first attitude from Mike McCarthy, to do that. And then he's the overseer of everything. And I don't think, head coaches get enough credit for that when things are going well. It's about the hires on the staff. It's about the culture and the chemistry that you're a part of developing in that locker room. So, I think it's great, bouncing back from a really tough first season. I mean, just think of the conversations people were having at the end of the 2020 season, about Mike McCarthy and the future of the Cowboys organization, and look where you are now. So, I think he's done a really, really good job. I think it's a hard decision to move away from Mike Nolan after 1 year. Not only because Mike Nolan's a good football coach, but he's also a friend of Mike McCarthy's. And that, I know that had to be challenging and hard for him to do. But that shows you how much he's committed to bringing this franchise back to a Super Bowl.
Daryl Johnston with us here on the Blitz. Daryl, yesterday on Fox, you had the Minnesota-Detroit game. I know you weren't teammates with Dan Campbell when he was with the Cowboys, but I mean, I know you know him because you seem to know all the guys that have come through Dallas extremely well. Watching his post game yesterday, do you just go give him a hug after the game? I mean, that's a guy that desperately needs a hug.
He's awesome. He's such a perfect fit for that city and that team. You know, when they hired him, I was not only happy for Dan, but I was excited to see, you know, what was going to happen to the Lions organization, because he's a perfect fit for what they're trying to do. And I loved his opening press conference, and, you know, biting the kneecaps and, you know, we're going to slug you, you know, it's who Dan is. And you can see the passion for the game. Watching that game yesterday and being a part of that last 3.5 minutes, I mean, we were on an emotional roller coaster as broadcasters. I can't even imagine what it was like for him. And then to lose that game almost in the identical fashion that you lost the Baltimore game 2 weeks ago. You know, there was a penalty that was not called in that game. That field goal attempt should have never even happened when Justin Tucker kicked the 66-yard field goal. That shouldn't even happen. It should have been Detroit's victory there. And they continue to come back to work, and they continue to just grind. And, you know, we have them again this weekend. We have Cincinnati at Detroit. And I cannot wait to have that conversation with him about how was the week. You know, this is going to be the hard week. As challenging as it was the first 4 to come back on Monday and get ready for your next opponent, today was going to be one of the hardest days for those guys to come into that facility, because that was just a devastating, heartbreaking loss. The way that game ended at the, especially with him going for 2, which now you're hearing he told Jared Goff when he walked onto the field for that last drive, listen, we're going to go down, we're going to score a touchdown here, and then we're going to go to 2, we're going to win this thing. And, you know, that's the belief, that's the faith that he has in his guys. And he's working with a team that's not as talented as others, but boy, I tell you what, they fight and they scratch and they claw every single second of that 60-minute game. I've met him a couple of times when Dat Wynn was my co-host. He's really good friends with Dan, and I know Dad has told me many times that's a guy that hates losing more than anybody, and I can only imagine what it's like for him. But as a player, if you see your coach in tears on the podium, how do you not go fight for that guy? The love and passion that he has, how do you not go fight for him? Eventually, that first win is going to come. It will. It absolutely will. And you know, we kind of let our broadcast off with that. And just they're still making too many mistakes. And it reminds me so much of our 1989 team that went 1-15. We were not a 1-15 team. We were a 4-12, 5-11 team, but we just didn't know how to win. We would make the critical mistake at the wrong time of the game. We couldn't make the big play that shifted momentum our way. We struggled through that season and found a number of different ways to lose games. And that's what Detroit's going through right now. But they're getting better and better. It's going to build a tremendous foundation for them moving forward. There's going to be a core group of the guys that are on this team that will be on that Lions team, you know, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, that's in the playoffs and you know, is a tough out for everybody in the NFL at that time.
Daryl Johnston, the Moose, 3-time Super Bowl champ, joins us every Monday here on the Blitz, Mondays with the Moose. Daryl, always appreciate the time. We'll visit with you next week.
Look forward to it. Always good visiting with you too, Jason.
Appreciate it. Daryl Johnston, the Moose, here on the Blitz. And you think about those Lions teams, to lose 2 games by a weird score of 19-17 and the way they happened. Coach Campbell, man, he certainly needs a hug. So does Lucas Amich. He's no longer a Spur. He got cut. We'll talk about that coming up. Jeff Traylor will join us at 6 o'clock. If you're having any issues at the house with your plumbing or your air conditioning unit, you know there's only one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC at 210-651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. No commission. Sales reps, they'll provide estimates and and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quarter Moon, they are green certified. Now is also the time to get your heater tuned up. Make sure it's ready for the winter. Quarter Moon has great maintenance programs that ensures your unit is ready for every season. Call them 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, SCARE. SCARE. SCARE at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm gonna let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Hey, sports bettors, I'm talking to you. This is Rob Thompson here to tell you about my favorite sports book. That's BetUS. Football's here. You need to be playing it. It's been a great couple of weeks. Why not start now? Well, BetUS is the best place to start because they've been around for 25 years. That's the integrity I'm looking for with the longevity. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, you name it, they've got it. To join, it's so easy. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. Again, 1-800-79-BET-US. And when you dial it, remember this, KZDC. If you tell them KZDC, that's us, you're going to get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody does that. I bet at BetUS, so should you. I want you to join BetUS.com today. Call them right now. Start betting with America's favorite sportsbook. And remember to use KZDC for up to 200% in bonuses. BetUS.com. It's where the game begins.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is a new build or an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle. Get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, plus one filter and reverse osmosis system. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com.
Get the latest scores and more from high school football online anytime at 210varsity.com. Sponsored by the San Antonio Express News, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rob Thompson on your home for Dallas Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Make sure you wake up with Rob and Rudy, R&R in the morning from 7 to 10. Then you got Greeny. Then halftime, Carl Schoening will be eating crow tomorrow, and Rob Thompson, then Paul Feinbaum, and then, of course, the Blitz, although tomorrow we'll have some Astros baseball on in the middle of the day, so Carl might not get the opportunity, at least on halftime, to eat crow, but I'm sure Rob Thompson's going to get a big old spoonful for Carl. Pledge, you do all kinds of the podcasts with Jeff Garcia over there. Luka getting waived to me is not a surprise. Why are people surprised that the Spurs waived their 19th overall first round pick from 2 years ago?
Because he was the 19th overall pick. So there was a lot of hope. And because of the things he showed within the G League that never transitioned when he came over to San Antonio. This past season in the G League, he balled out. He looked like a star, but it never translates. And Jeff posted something today about a conversation he had with him where he knew it was a mental thing for him that he had to get over, that he just seemingly could not get past. And I think that's something that you have to, maybe he's never going to get over that. There are some people that just can't get over certain mental blocks.
Well, and even with some of the play in the preseason, some of it, I'm surprised it's lasted this long, right? I mean, you look at it and you sit there and you say, all right, failed experiment. Is that on the front office? He appears to have all the tools. I think that's why people are so frustrated and surprised that maybe they got cut, because we've seen glimpses of it in other places. Maybe his release will allow him to go to another NBA team and turn into the player that we all thought he could be. And if he was taken 29th and not 19th, I don't think we'd give a damn today, right? I mean, let's face it. The 29th pick is basically a second rounder. Right? They got the right guys, I think, in that draft, and we've said that for 2 years, just in the wrong order. Because you still had Keldon in that draft. But it's like the Cowboys and Taco Charlton. You whiffed. And you don't keep it around too long to try to make sure. You can only waste so much quality time on something before you realize that's it. Botello Franklin says, I'm not surprised, but more shocked they didn't give him a third year. A third year for what? I mean, why keep him around if he's not learning? At some point, he's not learning. I was talking with a friend of mine who has a German Shepherd puppy that's about 9 months old. And this German Shepherd puppy has been to the 2-week-long training course that's supposed to change everything. That dog still hasn't figured it out. What do you do? At what point, what do you do except hide all your shoes because you're going to lose one? Why is it that dogs don't chew 2 shoes? They only choose one. At some point, you just can't train it. At some point, you realize this one's different. This one, when the school says, man, we can't in good faith charge you because we didn't teach this dog a damn thing. I think that's where you're at with Luka right now. And you cut bait. And their roster says they've got to make a couple of cuts before the regular season starts. And Luka's play in this preseason made it a very easy decision for Greg Popovich and the staff on who was going to be that first cut. They've got one more they've got to make, which maybe ends up being a surprise. I doubt it. But Luka, to me, him getting cut is not a surprise.
Yeah, and I think the main thing that is catching most people off guard is he never even really got a shot in San Antonio.
For what?
To even attempt to recreate what he was doing in the G League. He got a spot start here, back to the G League. Like, he never got any extended time in San Antonio, and I think that's what most people will consider, like, we didn't even give him a shot.
I don't think he earned it.
I don't
think
either.
I think we saw enough. That's how it goes. You know who's gotten a shot in San Antonio and taken full advantage of it?
Tim Duncan.
Jeff Traylor. And he will join us next. His Roadrunners are 6-0. We'll talk to the UTSA head coach coming up. But first, let me tell you about my friends at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex. If you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle, you know there's no better place to go than Ancira. And I can tell you firsthand because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I have bought many vehicles from Ancira. And it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. When you start that car buying process, they're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with all the options and features that you're looking for. They will give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and their service after the sale is second to none. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck. part of the Ancira Itonado complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
The college football tradition lives here with in-depth analysis and breakdowns from our team during the week of the Aggies, the Longhorns, UTSA, and more. Catch the gridiron action on Saturdays with live play-by-play from around the country. Bowl season. Let's go! The college football playoff and the national championship comes to life right here. Love it! On San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Diamonds Direct, we never take you for granted. We understand you always have a choice. That's why this week, we want to take pause to say thank you. It's a yearly tradition our team looks forward to because we love showing you we care. And this commitment to you is why we offer free cleaning, free sizing, free maintenance for life with any purchase. It's also why we created our amazing 110% lifetime upgrade promise. So when you're ready to trade up to that center diamond, that pair of diamond studs, or that diamond solitaire pendant, we will give you 110% of your original purchase price to go toward your new diamond. That's 10% more than you paid us. Value, selection, and customer service are truly what set us apart. This weekend, let us show you our appreciation. Come say hello, take advantage of our unmatched services, and maybe upgrade or trade in your diamond. And go bigger in honor of you, our valued customer. And thank you for allowing Diamonds Direct to be a part of your life's most precious moments, today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
The healthiest patients in San Antonio are at the Institute for Functional Health. I'm Dr. Torres, and we help folks get off medications, feel better, look better, and become undeniably healthy. You've struggled with the same health concerns for a long time. It's frustrating, depressing, and nothing has worked. The good news is, at the Institute for Functional Health, we know everyone is unique, and medicine is never a one-size-fits-all solution. That's why we order specific labs to uncover the root cause of your symptoms. Your blood gives us all the answers, and we develop a doctor-supervised game plan that is specifically designed for you. Over the last decade, we have helped thousands of individuals look and feel years younger. All of us at the Institute for Functional Health are proud to say we have the healthiest patients in San Antonio, and we will help you become part of that club. See for yourself at iffhealth.com and call to schedule your complimentary consultation at 468-1891. 468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. 468-1891.
COVID is spiking again, and it's just not clear how to keep your family safe. Fever is the leading symptom of COVID, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. You want to be a part of the show? It's easy to do on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 is the number to call, or you can always get us on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. He's on Twitter at I Am Pledger. Jeff Traylor, head football coach of UTSA, will join us shortly after they improved to 6-0 on the season. A wild win over Western Kentucky. And I mean wild. Lots to talk about with Coach Traylor, who is normally very punctual, but I'm guessing he's getting congratulatory calls right now. He might be out recruiting. He might be, I mean, the man right now can do no wrong. I'm trying to figure out what is he going to order up to feed the students this week there at UTSA, because they got a game this week against Rice in the Alamo Dome. It's their homecoming game. And we keep talking about packing the dome. And I look at this UTSA team, the only undefeated team at the FBS level that is not ranked in the top 25. They keep getting votes. They keep doing everything that they could possibly do. And when you think about, other conferences that might be looking at UTSA because they got slots that they're going to need to fill, that attendance is something that gets looked at. So it does make a difference if you're going to the game. If you're a UTSA alumni, if you're just a good football fan, if you're a San Antonio high school football fan, he's got 29 local players on that team. So, I mean, there is that sense that you want to go down there and support this team. And the games are fun. The tailgating is fun. It's a great atmosphere. And you think about, like, I was at the Cowboys game yesterday, and that was my first Cowboys game since COVID. I didn't go to a single NFL game last year. Dude, it was so much fun with that many people in the building. I've been to 2 UTSA games this year, and one game had 16,000, the other game just over 20, and it gets loud in the dome. It's loud, and it's certainly a lot of fun. But when you start looking around what big crowds can do, if you're watching college football this Saturday, you saw that Iowa-Penn State game. That Iowa crowd made a huge difference in that game. A&M upsetting Alabama. That crowd made a huge difference. Go pack the dome on Saturday. Get your tickets. UTSA and Rice, they're a good football team. And Jeff Traylor, the head football coach of them UTSA Roadrunners, joining us now. Coach, always appreciate the time. Congrats on 6-0.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you having me on.
Always. And bowl eligible. And you look at that game on Saturday, and we talked about it last week. You knew it was going to be tough and that they were going to throw for 100 yards. How do you grade your defense when the opposing quarterback gives up 523 yards and you give up the total number of points, 46, that you did? How do you grade the defense after a game like that?
Some of it was on me. We gave them a bad plan that first half. To our credit, we did adjust at halftime, and we just basically decided if we're going to go down, let's go down our way, and let's let our guys get after him. Let's let our corners go cover. We were much better on defense the second half. The way we called the entire game offensively, we're just going for it on fourth down every time except for once. To all of our selections, it was a compliment to that quarterback and that system. We knew what we were getting into, and they were just really that good. Our defense really wasn't that bad.
Well, and I know that, and again, you knew what you were getting into. That's why I was curious, how do you grade it? Because ultimately you got the win, and you talk about how good their offense is. Fourth quarter, coach, 4-minute offense. You run on first down, then you throw it 3 times. So they get the ball with 3:21. Why don't you run the ball with Sincere McCormick there?
Well, you didn't speak correctly. We didn't throw it 3 times. There's only 3 downs. So we ran it the first time, then we threw it 2 times. And we probably regret running it on that second time. But what it was, honestly, was when they've got that many people in there, Jason, at the end of the game, they got too many of them in there, buddy. So you're either going to have to run option, throw it, or you're going to have to ask Sincere just to run into a box that's extremely, extremely loaded. And we've already proven we can't do that. Illinois, we came right off the field. We did it against UNLV. We came right off the field. It sounds great. It does. I mean, when you're the armchair quarterback, it's the perfect call, right? But you're also taking the ball out of Frank Harris's hands. I mean, he only threw 6 touchdowns. They hadn't covered our receivers all night. So you could say it either way. If you hand it off 3 times, now here's the credit. The credit is we completed the pass, right? So they had to burn their timeouts. So all you're doing by handing it off is just burning their timeouts. Well, what do their timeouts mean to them, Jason? They don't mean anything to them. Those timeouts don't mean squat to that offense. Now, a team like Illinois or UNLV, I would agree with you. So, yeah, it's a fair question. Armchair quarterback and myself, I wish I would have handed off on second down. But it's still the right call in that time, unless you're going to run option. And I'm not really excited about pitching the ball in that situation either because they got too many guys in the box. So everybody talks about 4-minute offense. There's also 4-minute defense going on. Those guys are playing a certain defense in that time as well that presses your hand.
Absolutely. That's the chess match of it. And it's always easier being the armchair quarterback. I could probably see. I just like you're giving the ball back to that guy with too much time on the clock. And, credit to your defense with that goal line stand and the interception right there at the end. What's going through your mind as they are marching down the field? And are you looking at the clock going, okay, if they score, we're going to have this many seconds to try to go go back on top. You know, we'll get Frank to throw it to 88. That Clark kid, man, he was catching everything and scoring everything. Are you thinking there, if they score, this is what we're going to have to do, or are you thinking our defense just needs to come up with the big play?
A little bit of both, right? I had 2 timeouts, so I was trying to manage those timeouts to save me some time, go back down the field and score. But then at the same time, you don't want to bail them out because they're pressed for time as well, because they only had 1 timeout left. So it's a fine balance you're in, because all we would have needed was a field goal to win the ball game. So you're looking to get the ball to the 35-yard line, you got a shot. So all those things were going through my mind. And, like you said, whoever has the chalk left, the armchair quarterback, it's tough. It just really is tough. And I'm just glad my defense got it done. I didn't have to worry about that. Now, what's crazy, Jason, I don't know. I had some premonition Wednesday night. We had not worked victory formation on the -1 yard line in a while because, we're a shotgun team mainly. And so Thursday at practice, we worked victory formation on the -1. And I'll be dang if we didn't have to do it 2 times in the game there.
You need to go buy lottery tickets, Coach.
That was crazy. My kids laughed so hard because I just got nervous about it because we don't do it very much. We're always in the shotgun. So anyway, it was one of those little funny things that go on during the week that nobody really knows about. I thought I'd share that with you.
I appreciate it because, I mean, we've all seen enough football, whether it's at the college level, at the high school level, when you do something that you don't do all the time and you don't practice it. And I saw it in a high school game that I did earlier this year. They tried to go under center for the first time in the game in a short yardage situation to run a quarterback sneak, and they fumbled the snap. Because they don't do it enough.
And if you watch me, when it's victory, I don't take my headsets off. A lot of high school a lot of coaches take their headsets off on victory. I'm keeping my headsets on. I'm coaching to the zeros or on the clock. I'm not going to be. I'm not assuming anything, brother.
Absolutely not. Jeff Traylor, head football coach of UTSA, joining us here on the Blitz, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. You mentioned Frank Harris's game. Boy, did he have himself a game. This is 2 weeks in a row we've said, man, look at what Frank Harris is doing. And, watching him and knowing what he went through at high school at Clemens and his career at UTSA, to see it coming the way it is, coming all together for him, making all the throws. And I think that's the one thing about Frank that has been impressive is he is making all the different throws. He is playing at a big-time level with the throws that he is making. What's different about his game that you're seeing this year from when you first got on campus a year ago?
Well, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to go one more thing. He threw 6 touchdowns. He caught a 7th. And then maybe the play of the game, Jason, was when after the interception, he immediately stripped that guy, and Zachary recovered it, and we scored on that drive. So he had a cause fumble, a reception, and he threw for 6. But to answer your question, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent there, but I love the kid so much. He's in total control now. All those RPOs are him. He's changing plays at the line of scrimmage. I'm not going to blame him for the throwing into cover 0 on the 4-minute offense. That was my call, so don't read too much into that. But he has total control of the offense right now, and that's the biggest difference. His confidence, how he sees the game, and I'm so happy for him because he's just developed right in front of our eyes. And that next gear I kept saying he had, y'all got to see it all Saturday.
Well, we did, and I was kind of leading into it, although you kind of mentioned it. When he threw the interception and then forced the fumble, his awareness, his football IQ, but just his overall awareness to punch the ball out just tells me he's at a different level than everybody else on that football field.
And he was so quick about it. And what's impressive is Zachary was seeing it the same way. I mean, Zachary was coming there ready to hunt, and he just landed on the ball and rolled over on top of it like we worked that drill 1,000 times. Now, I will say we talk about that all the time, but we don't work. We do that in fall camp like one time for our offensive guys, and we don't do it since then. So that's all Frank and Zachary.
It was an incredible win for sure. You guys are 6-0. You're bowl eligible. It's crazy. Early October to say UTSA is bowl eligible, but you are. You've talked a lot, after the start, second week, third week, about don't eating the cheese. A lot of people have had a lot of fun with that. How do you make sure your guys manage and handle the success?
Well, I'll just tell you what they experienced. Like, I had to remind them they made a bowl Saturday. They're that focused on winning the day. they really do believe every word of our hashtag 210 triangle of toughness culture. They're not just words on a wall. My kids live them on their heart. And that's what it is. My leadership council, those guys do a fantastic job. Those younger guys follow them, and they just won't do it. I mean, we did get a little bit. I got on my kids a little bit. I saw them on Twitter getting after a couple of media guys that picked against us and some guys that took shots at us. And I had to look, hey, boys, calm it down. Fly low. Don't eat the cheese. Let's stay true to ourselves, take care of ourselves. Let media be media. Let fans be fans, and let's not get outside of our lane. So once I had a little conversation with them, I hope I got them back humbled a little bit. We can stay in our fly low mode.
Well, and what are you grasping for to find that motivational piece? Is it, hey, we're the only undefeated FBS team not ranked in the top 25? Do you look for the little nuggets like that to try to use for your team to fire them up?
I would never violate a culture pillar and talk about things, control the controllables, right? But maybe in a team meeting last night, maybe we might have listed every team that was ranked as undefeated except for the Roadrunners. That would be a culture pillar violation. So find the coach. I might have violated one right there, Jason. You're right.
Yeah, 10 push-ups. There you go, right? But I mean, look, at some point you have to. At some point, when I think about what you say to your team in the locker room, but, and I've said it on the radio, so I'm not going to, ask you this because I don't like to ask you questions that I know you can't answer. But, lots of rumors about could UTSA go to a different conference to say maybe replace Houston in the American. Attendance matters. That's another reason why we need to pack the dome. There's lots of things going on outside of that locker room that ultimately affect the program that you can't control, but it's out there. So you got to learn how to handle all that different success and acknowledge it, don't you?
Well, I just had a staff meeting and just I was explaining to them how big this is getting and how much of my time is being required right now. And I know that's happening all the way through our program, right? I mean, that's just part of the deal. And it's a great thing. Pressure's a privilege. We're thrilled to be in this position right now. Coordinator's got to coordinate. Position coach has got a position coach. Head coach has got a head coach. Players got to play. Leaders got to lead. And we just cannot lose sight of that. We had to stay true to our culture and stay right in that lane. But it's exciting, Jason. I would be lying to you if I told you it wasn't. We've been put in an unbelievable position to put the UTSA Roadrunners on the map and keep this program where we're not just great for a year, Jason, that we're built to last. So, I mean, things like you're talking about, buying suites, season tickets, people coming to the games. I mean, boosters showing up at airports. I mean, cheering for the kids. I mean, it's so much that goes into all this. And we're just very grateful that the city's getting behind us. And I hope they show up Saturday, watch our kids play.
I do too, and I appreciate how you said that, because people don't realize, as the head football coach, all the responsibilities you have outside of just coaching the team, which just kind of a knucklehead question. I know you do this show every Monday. You go on with Rob and Rudy on R&R in the morning. You go on the shows on the other station. But you've got more media obligations. I'm curious how many more interview requests you're getting every week from all the various publications, websites, and podcasts that are out there about college football, because that is how good UTSA is getting right now, where I'm sure you're getting a bunch of interview requests.
It is. I mean, last night I just shared this with my staff, Jason. I tried to have dinner with my wife, and she doesn't ever get upset. I mean, Care Bear's the best. We've been married over 30 years. I've been a head coach for 17 of those 30. And I mean, she got up, she went in there and washed clothes and put her headsets on, and she watched movies on her computer while she was doing the laundry. I'm like, where'd she go? And I went back there, and she's like, look, if you're not going to quit working at the house, just go on back to the field house and get back to work. And I'm like, I got it, baby. I got it. I got to be smart. You're right. There's only so much I can do in a day. I'm not God, right? I'm a football coach. That's all I am. And I gotta remind myself of that, Jason, and that's why our staff meeting was that way today. We got to fly low, stay humble, and keep believing our players. Our players are the reason we're 6-0. Keep pouring into those guys, and they'll find a way for me.
Tell me about Rice this Saturday.
Well, they're scary because they've won 2 in a row, and they're on an open week. That's how kids are. You win 2 games in a row and you give them an open week, they think they're unbeatable. Obviously losing to Houston and Arkansas and Texas makes their record not look very good. But man, Houston's the top 25 team. Arkansas is, and so is Texas. So I don't know what our record would be if we played their schedule, but they're very, very misleading. Obviously, you know their academic status. Their kids are very, very smart. They do a ton of stuff on defense, a ton of stuff on offense. Very much like UNLV. They just do a bunch of stuff. So we're going to have to be very, very locked in and focused and give our kids a sound plan and let them go play Saturday.
It's going to be a fun one. It's homecoming. We keep saying it. Pack the Dome for a variety of reasons. Pack the Dome. Coach, congrats on the win on Saturday. Was incredible. That was a fun game to watch. Was it fun to coach in?
It was a blast. I love doing it. I do. That game time's my favorite time. 4 hours, can put my headsets on, and nobody bothers me. It's just an unbelievable deal. And promise me this, Jason. I loved your 4-minute question. So next week, if I give the ball to Sincere 3 times in a row on 4-minute offense and it doesn't work, you're going to be okay with that?
I am going to be okay with that. Well, see, if it doesn't work, Coach, see, that's
exactly.
the difference.
That's
see,
you'll always say that.
But you know what though? I love learning stuff, and you taught me something because you said the timeouts don't mean a damn thing to them. I never considered that. You either run it and they got to use their timeouts, or you're going to burn more clock.
Yes, sir.
You know,
that's
and so I didn't
hindsight,
factor that
hindsight,
in.
Hindsight, I do regret not running the ball on 2nd down. I didn't think we were going to be able to lean on them as well as I did, right? If you remember back on that 4th down and 1.5 on my own -24, when I'm sure you're ready to strangle me right then as well, and we got that big hammer heavy set, and we just I wish we'd have had more of that. I didn't think we were going to be able to lean on. I made 2 talent assessments that were wrong. Their O-line was better than I thought, and we blocked them. Our O-line played incredibly well, Jason. It's the best our O-line's played since we've been here.
All right, so next time you're in the 4-minute offense, we're going to draw up a play in the dirt right now, Coach. And I'm stealing this from Kellen Moore with the Cowboys. What I want to see the option. They're going to stack I know you don't like to pitch the ball, but this one's kind of safe, right? So you pitch it to Brady, who's running, and then he pitches it to Sincere on the outside, kind of like you saw Pollard and Zeke do a couple weeks ago for the Cowboys, and just call that the Minix, and you run that in your 4-minute offense to get that first down, and you're going to be gold.
I love it. We're having fun here. If you remember that first play call, right? That's really all we did. When we zone read that thing and we send that tight end out in the flats, that is option. You can just throw it forwards. And guess what? If we don't get it, it's just an incomplete pass. When you pitch that thing backwards, it's the exact same play. It's just you have the chance of fumbling it. It's just another way to do it. It's just another way to skin the cat. I love talking ball with you, brother. We'll try to be better on the 4-minute offense next week, I promise.
Appreciate it. Jeff Traylor, head coach of UTSA. Go beat Rice. Be 7-0. We'll talk to you next week.
We're passing out tacos and rice to the student body Saturday. Let's fill that Alamo Dome up and get some tacos and rice eating Saturday at school. See you guys. God bless.
Tacos and rice. Birds up for sure. Jeff Traylor, head football coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. 4-minute offense. And you know what? He's right. If the timeouts don't mean anything to them, you got to play it knowing that. Although I still would have run the ball. I would have run the ball one more time. That was a lot of fun. That was a great Saturday morning college football sucked. Everything after 3 o'clock was incredible. Up until 3, everything sucked when it came to your college football Saturday. I just look at it. Pledge is rolling through some comments on our Facebook and YouTube lives that are comical. And you know what? That one said Jeff Traylor for governor. The other one said Jeff Traylor for mayor. And right now, Jeff Traylor probably could. The Judge Wolf is retiring. You know, Jeff Traylor could win that vote. You know, but you know what? He doesn't want your vote for that. He wants you to buy a ticket and go watch his team play. That's what he needs you to do. That's what he wants you to do. And you look at the student section. They've got the buy-in. The students have showed up. The 2 games that I've been to, the student section has been absolutely incredible and a lot of fun just watching those guys. And more importantly, they're staying until the end. Even that one game where they won, I don't know, whatever does nothing, they were there till the very end. I'm not sure if the buses leave early or not, but, I mean, there's ways you could leave a game if you don't want to stay there. They're staying. It's the rest of us that need to go. And I'll tell you, Other conferences are looking at UTSA and what they're doing right now. Invites will go out. I'm sure conversations are being had with Lisa Campos and Dr. Amy. I'm not privy to that knowledge. I'm assuming, and I know what happens when you assume. If they're not, a lot of people aren't doing their job. But knowing that Houston is leaving the American to go to the Big 12, knowing that the American wants to keep Texas, seeing various reports that, they're looking at like North Texas. What would you rather have, North Texas and be another school in the Dallas area, or have San Antonio and South Texas and a program that's doing what UTSA is doing? But 16,000 doesn't cut it when it comes to that. It just doesn't. Always fun visiting with Jeff Traylor, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue, which is a good reminder. I don't know if you've seen the leaderboard in our Pro Football Pigskin Pick'em contest powered by Pinkerton's Barbecue. I can't win. Somebody else is going to get that gift card to Pinkerton's and Mellow Mushroom. Make sure you're doing that every week. It's going to be a lot of fun. While you're at sasportstar.com, make sure you upload a photo of anything you had on your grill this week, because we give away that $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market every Thursday. I've got a couple of steaks that are about to go on my grill since I was out of town all weekend. Been craving a steak. Got a big old steak about to go out there on that Traeger. Whew, it's going to be fun times. Go to sasportstar.com for all the details. We'll talk some more college football with Clint Stoerner when we come back here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about my friends over at Alamo Water Softeners. You know you want to have the best water quality for your family, whether your home is a new build or an older home. Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. Great website. Schedule your appointment there. They'll come out to your house and give you a free water analysis and a customized plan for your family and home. And you could choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle, where you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system while supplies last. Now is the time to take advantage of that bundle pricing. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Let's get a Sports Center update. Here's James Pledger.
Speaking of those UTSA Roadrunners, they remained unbeaten as they improved to 6-0 with their 52-46 win over Western Kentucky over the weekend, as Frank Harris rushed for 349 yards and 6 passing touchdowns. Even had a receiving touchdown, which nabbed him Conference USA Player of the Week honors. Sincere McCormick rushed for 120 yards in the win. The Texas Longhorns, however, did not have such a good night as they watched a 28-7 first quarter lead and a 38-20 halftime lead evaporate as they would fall to the Oklahoma Sooners 55-48 despite 388 yards and 5 passing touchdowns from Casey Thompson. 261 of those yards and 2 touchdowns going to true freshman Xavier Worthy. The Texas A&M Aggies are ranked 21st this week after they upset top-ranked Alabama over the weekend, 41-38, as Zach Calzada threw for 285 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Aggie victory. The Dallas Cowboys won their 4th straight as they rolled the Giants 44-20. Trayvon Diggs has a pick in every game this season now, extending his records. He has 6 on the season, while the Houston Texans fell to the New England Patriots 25-22. I'm James Pledger.
Hi, welcome to Smoky Moe's.
At Smoky Moe's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smoky Moe's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
Hey, sports bettors, I'm talking to you. This is Rob Thompson here to tell you about my favorite sports book. That's BetUS. Football's here. You need to be playing it. It's been a great couple of weeks. Why not start now? Well, BetUS is the best place to start because they've been around for 25 years. That's the integrity I'm looking for with the longevity. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, you name it, they've got it. To join, it's so easy. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. Again, 1-800-79-BET-US. And when you dial it, remember this, KZDC. If you tell them KZDC, that's us, you're going to get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody does that. I bet at BetUS, so should you. I want you to join BetUS.com today. Call them right now. Start betting with America's favorite sportsbook. And remember to use KZDC for up to 200% in bonuses. BetUS.com. It's where the game begins.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Introducing the latest innovation in water technology. The new Nebula by Moen Quattro Showerhead offers 4 unique experiences to choose from, designed to soothe, clarify, relieve, and cleanse. An indulgent shower experience engineered to use up to 50% less water. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? Visit Moen.com to learn more.
If you've got a small business, you know there's nothing more valuable than your time. So why waste it at the post office? Stamps.com makes it easy to mail and ship right from your computer. No special equipment required. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. You'll even get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. And their new Rate Advisor tool lets you compare shipping rates across carriers so you always find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk, and when you go to Stamps.com and use offer code FOCUS, you'll receive a 4-week free trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top and enter code FOCUS. That's Stamps.com, promo code FOCUS. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Texas Cheer Liquor, your one-stop shop for beer, liquor, wine, and cigars. Follow them on Facebook to keep up with specials and tastings. 4 locations, 2 on Petranco, 1 past 211, 1 at 90 in Montgomery, and the all-new Texas Cheer Liquor next to Walmart Palo Alto Road, Suite 101.
Sweat and sacrifice. Dallas Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon, a crazy weekend of football. We got some Astros baseball playoffs to talk about. Always fun to catch up with former Cowboy quarterback and now co-host on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, Clint Stoerner, joining us now. Clint, James Pledger is our resident Houston Texan fan, so we'll give him 20 seconds of glory here. Yesterday, man, they tried, right? I mean, do we give them credit for trying?
Oh, well, yeah. With what's going on in Houston, you got to at least give credit where they're trying. At least you got to give credit for good outings. I mean, it can't always boil down to a W or an L in Houston right now. They're a couple of years removed from that being the only measuring stick. If you want to be real now, if you want to ride the roller coaster and be on more downs than you do or lows than you do highs, then hey, it's up to you. But look, they're in a rebuild phase. Hell, I think they're still in the tear down phase. I think they're going to fire sale here before too long if they hadn't already, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. But yesterday was a decent outing for a couple of players that I think they're evaluating heavily right now.
Was there a point in the game yesterday you were watching the Texans thinking they were going to beat the New England Patriots?
Yeah. I mean, I think when they came out of halftime and probably about halfway through the third quarter, you think, hey man, these guys, it's going to be hard to screw this one up. You know, they were doing a lot of things really, really good. The game plan clearly was spot on, and defensively they were making things difficult for the rookie on the other side of the ball, Mac Jones, and he had 4, new offensive linemen, 4 backup offensive linemen that were playing the entire game. They were able to take advantage of that and pressure him a bit. And things were going. I mean, look, things were in the Texans' favor for about 2.5 quarters there, and it was going to be. It was a game that was going to be really difficult to screw up, and David Culley found a way to screw it up. I mean, we can dig into the details of it, but ultimately, the head coach of the Houston Texans yesterday made a few decisions that were the only way that the Patriots were going to get into that game, and the only way that the Patriots were going to get some momentum and eventually win the ball game. And he made the wrong decisions, and it cost his team a victory.
Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz. Now, you just said he made the wrong decisions. James Pledger, our producer, thinks he's making the right decisions because he's doing everything they can to keep this team from winning the protected draft pick. You've been in an NFL locker rooms. Is there any validity to the thought process of my knucklehead producer, James Pledger?
I think if he's talking about the front office, I think he's spot on. I think there's a lot of things that go on in the front office of a rebuild where winning ball games is not a priority, and that's blatantly obvious in Houston right now. But I think once you get to Sunday and the coach is given the roster that he's given, even down to the inactive list, I think the higher ups in Houston are deciding who's on the inactive list. But once they put the ball down and blow the whistle, I just find it very difficult to believe that the team and the coaches and everybody aren't doing everything in their power to win a ball game, man. So I agree with you, James, if you're talking about the executive level, but it's hard for me to even think that these guys on Sunday, the ones that are actually down there in polos and pads, it's hard for me to believe those guys aren't doing everything they can to win ball games. Now, you look at what David Culley did yesterday, some of the decisions he made. It's hard for me to sell what I just tried to sell to your listeners there. To be completely honest with you, Jason, but I think it was the lack of experience. I think he was overwhelmed. I think all those things are true more so than he was throwing a game, if you will.
I like to believe it's hard because I'm happy for David Culley, and he seems like a really nice guy. But some of the decision making that he has had this year either says he's in over his head and should not be a head coach in the NFL, or he is following orders and likes his paycheck.
Well, I think there's a little bit of. I think there's two things. I think they can be twofold. I think both things are happening. Look, I think he's in well over his head. I mean, I think I thought that from the jump. I think once the season started, he did some things that really impressed us in terms of how he eventually started handling the media around the Deshaun Watson thing, and then how he handled his team in the media during training camp. But now, I said this from the jump, when the rubber meets the road and there's an actual opponent across the field and it's win or lose, and this coach is forced into a position where he's got to make some pressure-packed decisions, there's a reason why he's never been a head coach. There's a reason why that he's been with multiple great head coaches and they've never made him a coordinator. Right? There's a reason why. Now, can he overcome them? Maybe. But right now, I think we're starting to see exactly why he's been an assistant coach for his entire career. I mean, there was a couple of decisions yesterday. The fake punt was an absolute disaster. There was no reason. You had a 2-score lead at that point in time. You had all the momentum. You're at home, and you decide you got a chance to punt a team deep that has a rookie quarterback and 4 second-string offensive linemen playing. And you decide to risk some gimmicky punt. It wasn't even a good, fake punt attempt. It was some gimmicky up and back, and then trying to punt the ball from 10 yards behind the line instead of 15 or 16. I mean, it was just a piss poor call. And then the attempted field goal from 56 yards. I mean, the guy's longest in his career is 55. I mean, he's 2 weeks removed from a hamstring injury. He had kicked the ball out of bounds and missed 2 extra points. What more do you need to not, to make the better decision of, hey, let's go for it, or let's kick them down deep inside the 10 again and force them to go 80 or 90 yards to score points. I think those were 2 huge decisions that shifted that game in a major, major way and ultimately gave Bill Belichick and the Patriots life. And when you give those guys life, you see what happens.
Absolutely. Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz. You can hear him on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Played quarterback at Arkansas, played for the Cowboys. Love talking college and NFL with you. What happened to my Longhorns, man?
Boy, that is a really, really good question. I don't know how, that collapse happened. I mean, it's obvious that halftime adjustments didn't work or weren't made, one of the two. You thought you could just keep doing what you were doing and you didn't need to adjust. It got ugly in the second half. These are the kind of games for me that it's one thing to lose the Red River rivalry or shootout or whatever the hell you want to call it now. It's one thing to lose that ball game. It's another thing to have an all-time collapse in the second half when you've got an 18 or 20-point lead and you appear to be in every phase of the game the better football team. So, I can't put my finger on what exactly happened, but I know this: it's a bad look for Sark, and the way he lost that game is going to be hard to overcome. That is he was at a point where he was starting to dig out of that loss to Arkansas hole, and this one right here, it shoved him right back down to the bottom of that hole, and it's even deeper now than it was after Arkansas. So he's got a long way to go. He's lucky it's his first year in Austin, or there'd be some major rumblings because that was an ugly one.
Yeah, it was ugly, and the best part about Saturday is after that game, then you had A&M knocking off #1 Alabama. So at least on this show, we're not talking about the Longhorns. We're talking about how the hell the Aggies did it. And you and I have talked for a couple weeks about Zach Calzada and if he had it. How does a guy play the way we've seen him play, come out and look like a completely different dude against Alabama and knock off #1?
Well, look, I think he had a lot of things going in his favor. I think the game plan, I mean, Jimbo had a great game plan, which I know he's a great coach. I know he's a great offensive mind, but that just flat hadn't been the case this year. Call it injuries, call it young players, whatever you call it, immaturity, whatever you want to call it. The plan hasn't been good and the execution hasn't been good. So it's been twofold, two major issues. But I do think Jimbo had a great plan coming out. And, I do believe that the young kid he is getting better every single week that they played. It was hard to see because there was not a whole lot of good around him. The offensive line protected him better, gave him a little bit of time. And it appeared to me that either Jimbo Fisher purposely called some stuff that's a little bit quicker. Let's get the back some catches out of the backfield. Let's get some stuff underneath, some catches underneath. He either game planned that way and didn't before, or he emphasized it with Zach Calzada, and Zach Calzada went out there, trusted the system, took what the defense gave him, and next thing you know, they're in a ball game. And hell, the young fella makes a big time play at the end, not only to score a touchdown to tie the ball game up, but also to get him into field goal range. Going into the tent with a bum knee, comes back out, and then he actually runs the football some on that last drive to get him into that game winning field goal. Man, I mean, nobody needed that kind of performance more than Jimbo Fisher, Mike Elko, and Zach Calzada. Those three guys right there were on the verge of the wheels coming off of everything in College Station. And I'll say this too, Jay, the only thing that could save the season that was supposed to be college football playoff worthy, the only thing that could save the season in College Station was beating Alabama, and I'll be damned if they didn't go out there and do it.
They did it. And when you saw that injury, did you think he was done for the year? I mean, man, it just looks so bad. I don't know how he came back out.
Yeah, look, it looked terrible. But I tell you, when I saw him upright getting off the field, right, I was like, hey, there's no way you come out of this ball game, right? I mean, if they don't take you off on a stretcher, then I'm going back in that ball game. Even if I can't move in the pocket, I'm going to take the snap. I'm going to plant my foot. I'm going to try to throw a pass. I'm at least going to try. They're going to have to pull me out of the stadium, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. When it first happened, I thought, oh boy, this is sad. It's sad. What a sad ending to a story, right? And then I'll be damned if the kid doesn't go in the tent and come back out there and rock and roll. I hadn't even seen anything. Have they come out with what happened? What's wrong? Or is there an injury? Is it something he can play through? What's the report?
I haven't seen any report or any long term other than I think he's going to be fine. And I don't know if they used that magic soccer spray in that tent or whatever they did. But what it showed me is every quarterback I know and every quarterback coach always talks about you got to have a quarterback that has courage in the pocket. You got to have that courage that you're going to get hit, standing there and make the throw. And he showed that on that touchdown pass, got hit, got hurt, and then had the courage to go back out there and in it. You weren't taking him off that field.
Yeah, look, there is no question about it, man, that kid
stood in there. He matured and developed more in them 4 quarters that he played against Alabama than he ever has in his life. There's no question about it. He was hurting the football team, not playing well enough at quarterback. But Jay, there was a lot of things going on around him that were wrong, that were bad, that made his job tenfold more difficult. And so they cleaned a lot of those things up, and his ability to stand in there, stay poised, and deliver the football over and over and over again down the field was the difference in that ball game. John Lopez down here in Houston with me, he's a big Aggie. He went to A&M. He's been in the media for 40 years. I mean, he's covered Aggies forever. He told me when they had to go with Calzada, he said, Clint, this kid will sit in the pocket and he can deliver every football you want a quarterback to throw, every pass you want him to throw, every route you want him to throw. He can make that throw. And I always thought about that every time that I saw him struggle. I'm thinking, if he can make those throws, if they can just clean things up around him, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just clean things up around him enough so he's not on his ass all the time or on his heels all the time. And I think they were able to do that somehow against Alabama, man. It was a beautiful thing to watch, man. Kyle Field is one of the. I'm not telling anybody, your listeners, something they don't already know. But Kyle Field is one of the most unique, one of the most I think difficult places to play for a road team. And man, it was on full display for all the college football world to see it on Saturday. That was absolutely beautiful, man.
It certainly was a lot of fun. Clint, before I let you go, the Astros about to finish off the White Sox tomorrow afternoon. They're accusing the White Sox of cheating. How'd that go over today on your show with your listeners?
You mean the White Sox accusing them of cheating?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that the Astros are accusing them, but you meant the White Sox. White Sox. You talking about that pitcher popping off in the media?
Yeah, that pitcher. Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, Jay. I mean, look, here's the deal: is I mean, it just doesn't need. I understand. I mean, everybody in Houston, including the players and everybody in the organization and the media. I mean, everybody is completely aware of, 100% aware of. Hey, man, look, they brought this on themselves. Right? I mean, this is the kind of storm they're going to have to deal with for a while. But here we are, 4 years removed, and they scored 6 runs in the first game in Houston. They go down to the White Sox, and they absolutely rake for the first 4 innings, score 6 runs. And somehow the 6 runs in that they scored in Houston is different than the 6 runs they scored in Chicago. And look, I understand they're going to have to deal with it, but all the reaching for straws and all the BS, like this guy pulls it completely out of left field. It's completely petty to do it, number one. Number two, I mean, look, why don't you just give your guys some credit? I mean, your guys went out there last night or yesterday. No, it was last night. It was a night game. They went out there last night. It was absolutely bananas in Chicago. Your fan base they showed up and showed out, and your pitchers from the 5th inning and beyond went out there and they absolutely dealt. Now there was an umpire that was erratic as hell. He was erratic on both sides of the ball. On both sides for both teams. I'm not pushing on the ump other than he was just did a terrible job across the board. But these pitchers they were dealing, man. It was a good ball game. I think it was really petty of him to make those comments. We had Mark Flores of MLB Network on today, and of course he can't go too hard in on the guys, but he made the same point of look, they raked for 4 innings, scored 6 runs. They did the same thing in Houston. What's the difference?
Exactly. And again, I just looked at it and went, the Astros have that reputation. They've got to deal with it and just go win without. I just thought, man, it's early to be hearing that from Chicago guys. That was interesting. Clint Stoerner from Sports Radio.
It's so weak, right? It's so weak, right? I mean, it's just you're down. You finally had a little success, got you a W. It's just so weak to all of a sudden just go to the low-hanging fruit. In my opinion, look, I understand how they're doing it, but in my opinion, it's just a super weak move, man.
Well, and to do it after a win. That was the thing that caught me. I mean, you do that after a loss because you're trying to find an excuse that they couldn't beat you on your own. But you did that after a win, and now you're drawing that attention. Just finish them off tomorrow, and we'll be in good shape. Clint, always appreciate the time, my man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Jay. Y'all be good, man.
Appreciate it. Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback, former Razorback quarterback. You can hear him on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Hey, WWE SmackDown is coming to the AT&T Center December 3rd. So you got plenty of time to plan because we've got a chance to give you some tickets right now. Pledge, you want to give them to caller number 9? Caller 9 got a pair of tickets. Caller number 9. You're going to go see WWE SmackDown AT&T Center on December 3rd. If you don't win them, you can buy them online at WWE.com. Caller 9, those tickets are yours. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, you know the best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is to call AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 is the number. You call them because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available. They offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 to get you out fast. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. So if you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, 225-2121, or online, mybestbailbonds.com.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, sports. SPORTS, sports, at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. You know there's no reason for you to be in pain, so if you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490. 804-5490, or learn more online, tsaog.com. That's tsaog.com.
Kane Brown, Blessed and Free Tour, Saturday, October 16th, AT&T Center. Special guests, Jordan Davis and Restless Road. See the meteoric rise of Kane Brown live. Tickets are on sale now at CaneBrownMusic.com. Presented by AEG Presents.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com. At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
Still looking for that one special voice that makes you fall in love with podcasts? The one is out there and free on Spotify. With over 2 million shows and today's most talked about podcasts, Spotify is the best place to find that one special show that makes you laugh, keeps you interested, and keeps you listening for more. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
The whole goal is to point people to something bigger.
What if the news was different and covered more than one side of the story? Not just the who or the what, but the why. What if it took you closer?
It's information and people want it.
So you can make up your own mind. What if the news lets you think for yourself? Introducing a new point of view, yours. Newsy. Watch Newsy free on your TV. Learn more at newsy.com.
Hey, it's Rob with my good buddy Jack Overman from Service First AC Repair and Plumbing. Hey, Jack, when someone calls you for plumbing or an AC repair, can you fix it that day?
No sweat. With Service First AC Repair and Plumbing, we don't sweat the small stuff or the big stuff.
210 no sweat.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Who's ready to play some ball?
Friday nights under the lights. Don't miss the high school football game of the week. Powered by Hill Electric. This Friday on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
San Antonio's home for sports talk is right here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James Pledger is telling me that we've got Dune tickets to give away. Dune, it's a movie. You can win a pair of tickets to go see the movie at Santikos, the Palladium over there. If you want them, call 5 right now. 656-ESPN, 656-3776.
And this is a special screening. The movie comes out next Friday. This is for a Tuesday screening at the Palladium. So you get to see it before it actually hits theaters.
You know, we've been talking a lot about the incredible performance of Zach Calzada. You know, I'm a radio guy. I thought the most incredible performance was Will Johnson. He is the sideline reporter for Texas A&M. And listen to how quickly he caught up to Zach Calzada after the game.
2 seconds left. 28-yard attempt by Seth Small. Is down. It is up. And the fighting Texas Aggies take down the top-ranked Tide 41-38. Number 1 goes down. And the celebration is on in Kyle Field.
Andrew.
Happy birthday, Jimbo Fisher.
I've got Zach Calzada, our quarterback, right here. What made you want to get back in the football game after you got hurt?
Well, we had to win the game. There was no question. We had to win the game.
What does it say about the heart of this team?
And I tell you, for Will Johnson, in about 10 seconds to do a full-on sprint to the Aggie quarterback after that game to get on the air that quick, that was incredible. We'll be on tomorrow late because we have Astros baseball tomorrow. Astros White Sox coming up tomorrow after that great call from Andrew Monaco on the Aggie Radio Network, which is also heard on our brother station, AM 550 KTSA. James Pledger, our producer, he told me our out time was a while ago, but he's not looking at me, counting me down, so I'm not really sure what Pledger is doing or if we're running long or not running long. But I thought you said we were out at 55:50. It's now 56:20. Tell me what our out time is, James Pledger. Maybe not. I don't know. All right, now Pledge is telling me 20 seconds. All right, so we're running a little long. R&R in the morning at 7. Then, of course, you got Greeny, a little bit of halftime. Astros baseball on in the afternoon. The Blitz will start as soon as the Astros finish off the White Sox tomorrow afternoon. The White Sox, they're going to cheat on this. That's it. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated